following broadcast is a presentation of Quinnipiac University and the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network, the flagship home for Quinnipiac athletics. All broadcasts streamed right here on the Qbsn.com.
Marcus in front to Collins, shot scored! Amanda Collins scores and the Bobcats win!
The way down the field, gives it off to Haggerty. Haggerty left wing, thinks about rifling the shot, takes it and scores! Christian Haggerty scores in double overtime, and the Bobcats are moving on to the Northeast Conference Championship game.
Barron driving the sideline. Barron needs to take the shot. She heaves it up, and it is good! Felicia Barron knocks down the three-pointer, and the Bobcats win at the buzzer.
Badstock gets it back, diving shot, she scores! With 5 seconds to go, Brittany Lyons scores from the slot, and it's 2-1 Bobcats.
But she drills a pitch to left field. Sirks going back to back. Home runs for the Bobcats as Alfieri turns on an inside fastball. It's 5-0 Quinnipiac.
Tries to get it into the 18. Bobcats not able to control it. Now surprised with the shot off the post, and it's in! Brilliant job by Philip Surprise, his first goal of the season, and the Bobcats have jumped out to a 1-0 lead.
And good evening, folks, and welcome to the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network for ECAC men's ice hockey. Tonight, the number 5 Quinnipiac University Bobcats host the number 8 Dartmouth Big Green. The Bobcats entered tonight with an 8-0-0 record. They're perfect so far in the ECAC. The Big Green sitting in second place with 4 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie. Even more important, though, is the peer-wise implications as the Bobcats right now are ranked second nationally. Dartmouth just 2 spots back at 4th. Add on the accolades. Quinnipiac's unbeaten streak, longest in the nation at 12 games. And Eric Hartzell is starting to make his way into the Hobie Baker discussion, and it's all on the line tonight. Hello again, everybody. I'm Brian Farrell, and with me is my main man, Neil Ravin. And Neil, it is perfect hockey weather out there. It's that time of the year. The calendar has turned. And with a lot going on in that opener, are we making too big of a deal out of this unbeaten streak, this national ranking, this game in general?
I don't think so, Brian. I don't think so at all, because I was just telling you a second ago off air, this year without any NHL season, obviously this disappointing as a hockey fan. I'm sure you are just as disappointed as well. But when you have big matchups like this, you don't see this hype in the NHL. This matchup is so determined for both teams. If Quinnipiac was able to win this game, I know, knock on wood, for their Bobcats fans, it may sound crazy, that could mean a top seed in the tournament for them. If Dartmouth's able to win this game also, it could give them that extra momentum that they are able to catch Quinnipiac in the ACAC, or even themselves move up to a top seed for the tournament. So I don't think we're making too much of a big deal out of this game, because it really is a big game, and there's a lot on the line here. So in terms of the streak, I mean, we've had this conversation how many times? we wonder when could it end? How long can they do this for? But it's been, from a student's perspective, you have to say, wow, this is fun to watch, because they are hot, and that's as hot as a team comes right now.
Tell me, what stands out the most for you in this 12-game unbeaten streak?
Goaltending. Because I've always said, of all sports, all professional sports, any sport at all, goaltenders are the most important players out of all, because they are the backbone of every team. You can't win without them. They are what drives winning streaks like this. Hartzell's played out of his mind this year. And last weekend was a weekend where you really saw him go through some adversity, too. On Friday night when Saturday, I apologize, when he gave up some soft goals. And he gave up a soft one again on Sunday, but he bounced back well there, showing you like this. They're going to go as far as this guy can bring them. Pecknold said it from the very beginning, day one on media day. He was asked, is Hartzell your guy? He said, it's Hartzell's team. We go as far as he can take us. It's goaltending, goaltending, goaltending.
I think it's a fair statement. Jack Parker, famed coach for the Boston University Terrors, thinks that hockey should be renamed goalie. How do you feel about that, Neil? You right on track?
He's right on track.
Right on track.
And Jack Parker knows what he's talking about. He's won a few games in his day.
Yeah, a couple of games here and there, usually just, on the weekends or an odd day, maybe a Wednesday or something like that. But in all seriousness, how long does this streak last, Neil? If you really had to pinpoint, this is one of those things in sports that's really hard to do because you've said it 1,000 times. Sports, you have no idea what could happen on a given night.
I always say that to you after a crazy game. That's
Sports.
That's sports, man. That's sports. See, after watching what happened last weekend, watching BC get knocked off 8-1 by Minnesota, watching Denver thrash BU 6-0, watching the Bobcats come and sweep Nebraska-Omaha, who's a pretty good team in themselves. They came in number 12 in the nation. They've won some big games this year. They beat that Minnesota team. You don't know. You basically have to come in with the mindset every night that it's a brand new game. And tonight, it's a brand new game back to conference play after last weekend. This is, personal opinion, biggest game of the season, by far. At first, I know that Dartmouth isn't as ranked high as Cornell was, that number 4 game, but right now you have the second best team in your conference. They are someone is waiting for Quinnipiac to make a mistake. You know what I mean? If Dartmouth can knock them off tonight, that's the momentum that Dartmouth needs to make a move towards that first seed in the conference, I believe.
And Quinnipiac has a few games in hand overall through the course of this season. They've played 8, and Dartmouth only playing 6 games so far in the ECAC. And we're going to kick it over right now. We talked to associate head coach for the Quinnipiac Bobcats, Bill Riga, before the game, and take a listen to what he had to say about not only tonight, but about this 12-game unbeaten streak. We're here with Coach Bill Riga. Coach, just talk about what are some of the keys to the unbeaten streak so far this season.
One is goaltending, consistent goaltending, giving us a chance to win every night. Eric's been very consistent, and that's kind of come over, the last half of last year and into this year. And then I think our seniors have been 4 senior defensemen, and our seniors up front, led by Langlois, have been a steadying factor in keeping us, from getting rattled and keeping us on an even keel, highs and lows, and allowed us to play our game and continue to get better as the year's gone on.
And you mentioned Hartsook. Can you talk about what you see differently from him so far this season?
I think it's just a presence he has about him, a confidence that he has about him. Where now he's done it for a year, and this is his year, and he's done a lot of things, mentally to prepare himself to be consistent this year. I think it's his approach and his focus has been better.
And talking about the seniors, Clay Harvey's been a guy that's shown up on the box scores quite a bit this year. What has impressed you about his play so far? I
just think he's just smart. I think he's just calm and smart, and he just does things on a daily basis that are simple. He doesn't try and do more than he can do. He knows his role, and he just goes about making simple plays. And when you play with players like Langlois and Pekka, and you're going to end up getting points when you just do the simple things well. And he's just smart enough to do what he does and not try and do too much.
And what would you say is the key for the victory tonight against Dartmouth?
We need to get pucks deep. They have a lot of forwards that like to go on offense, and if we turn pucks over in the neutral zone, they're going to come down on us in odd man rushes, and they're very talented up front. We need to get some shots on net. I think that might be one of their weaknesses. We'll see. They haven't played as many games as we have, and they're a little bit untested there on the back end. But up front, we need to keep the pucks away from their forwards and play in their zone a little bit.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, enjoy, guys. Thanks.
It's Associate Head Coach Billy Riga for the Quinnipiac University Bobcats. And Neil, why don't you take us around the league and check out what is happening in the ECAC. Some big slated games as we make our way into the second half of the season after that holiday break.
Yeah, definitely. And there's only one conference game going on tonight other than this one. That's Harvard at Princeton. But a couple games that a lot of Bobcats fans will watch for tonight. Yale goes to BC, travels to BC in a big matchup when the two faced each other actually in the 2010 NCAA tournament, winning a high-scoring affair. BC knocked off Yale. I believe it was in the first round, actually, 9-7. Went on to win the national title that year. So I don't want to even joke about Bobcats fans rooting for Yale, but at this point, I feel like Bobcats might look ahead of them a little bit in the rankings, you could say. And BC's ahead of them. I mean, if Yale's able to knock off BC, I don't really want to get ahead of myself, knock on wood, but other matchups around the league, another big one, Cornell travels to Denver. Denver knocked off BU last weekend 6-0. That's a big game out there. Other games we have RPI goes to BU, UMass Lowell up to Clarkson, RIT up to St. Lawrence, Sacred Heart at Colgate, and Union at Lake Superior. And that's it for ECAC teams. And one last quick note I have to make here. If I wasn't here right now broadcasting this game, you know just as well as I do that you'd probably be at home because we're both from Maine. at the Cumberland County Civic Center watching the Maine Black Bears, a team that these Bobcats knocked off in the opener this year. Maine's hosting Mercyhurst. They play one game a year. They're down in Portland. So good luck to my best friend on the team, Jake Rutt, and the Black Bears tonight.
A little hometown shout-out, nothing wrong with that. And Maine maybe getting back on track after a successful tournament down in Florida with wins over Duluth and Cornell, another team that the Bobcats have taken down already this season. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more on the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network. A little bit more analysis. We'll take one more commercial break after that, and then we'll be ready for puck drop between number 8 Dartmouth and number 5 Quinnipiac. You're listening to the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network.
Hey Bobcat fans, follow us on Twitter and Facebook for daily updates, reminders, and more from the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network, the online home for your favorite Quinnipiac sports.
Saturday night is hockey night here on the Qbsn.com. Tune in at the conclusion of every Saturday men's or women's hockey broadcast for Hockey Night in Hamden. Join QBSN's finest hockey broadcasters, writers, and analysts as they break down the weekend that was Quinnipiac ice hockey. Discussions, debate, arguments, and the occasional 5 for fisticuffs, all in a 1-hour program live at theqbsn.com. Want something debated during the program? Well, email us at hockeynightinhamden@gmail.com or tweet at HamdenHKY Night. When overtime just isn't enough, we've got your extra hockey. So join us at theqbsn.com Saturdays following the last hockey broadcast for Hockey Night in Hamden, your exclusive Quinnipiac ice hockey talk show. And welcome back to the High Point Solutions Arena. Once again, I'm Brian Farrell, joined alongside me, Neil Ravin. It's Quinnipiac and Dartmouth. Tonight, number 5, Quinnipiac taking on number 8, the Big Green. And Neil, why don't you give us some of the keys for Dartmouth over the past couple of weeks and what they've been up to?
Dartmouth's really, they've split goaltending time a lot this year, and they're going to start, it looks like, Charles Grant tonight, the freshman. It'll be key to see how he gets going. I wouldn't want to call this a hostile environment right away, but this is obviously a very big game, as I said, for both teams. So see how he gets going as a freshman in this game, a big matchup against the Bobcats. Other things to make note of, last week I was on the play-by-play against Nebraska Omaha, another top line here for Dartmouth, made up of Matt Lindblad, Tyler Sekera, and Dustin Walsh. Big guys that can score, get the puck to the net. Bobcats really need to watch out for them tonight because, I mean, like all top lines, that's one of the guys. He can keep off the scoreboard in this big matchup.
And if you look down the roster for Dartmouth, there's quite a few freshmen and underclassmen. Even the 4th line tonight, Brad Shearhorn, Nick Bly, and Jack Berry, all freshmen. And even a couple of defensive pairings. They've got Mike Keenan, the senior captain, paired up with Ryan Bullock, another freshman. So a lot of freshmen in the lineup tonight opposed to the Bobcats with quite a bit of senior depth.
And the one thing I did notice of them is I actually follow junior hockey pretty closely. They have a number of players that used to play in the EJHL, Eastern Junior Hockey League, with the Monarchs, the New Hampshire Junior Monarchs, which is right there in in the same state as Dartmouth. And that league is just known for their physical play, beat each other up. It's about will. I'm wondering if that's going to come out in the Dartmouth team tonight that Quinnipiac's facing.
If that is the case, who is it going to be on the other end for the Bobcats to try to contain that kind of style of play?
You know, last weekend they really threw their bodies around a lot the entire game. The one guy that stuck out to me, though, Travis St. Dennis. Small, but he was jumping out at the tallest defenseman on Nebraska Omaha, setting the tone and really getting into the defensemen's heads. So curious to see if he does that again tonight and what other Bobcats forwards and defensemen step up their physical play.
And it was Travis St. Dennis that picked up the first penalty of the season this year at the University of Maine. You saw the kind of physical play that he brought to the team, maybe brought a little too much on that first shift, but nonetheless.
Freshman in himself, showing that he's really not too timid or shy of the college game so far. I've been impressed by his abilities so far this season. He's really shown no fear for the college game, you could say. He stepped up well.
And like we said, a lot of senior presence on the team for the Bobcats this year. Who has stuck out the most for you? Not necessarily in the senior class, but in that junior-senior class.
The most for me in the junior-senior class, Zach Curry. See what he can do tonight. But after he was injured last weekend, he missed the Sunday game, started in the Saturday game. But he's just shown, since he got that C on his jersey, follow me. This is how we're going to win hockey games this year. This is how we're going to play defense. He's helped keep shots to the outside. He's just been so one of those rock-solid guys that you don't see in the box score, but he's the reason why this team has been unbeaten for 12 games.
All right, we're going to take one last commercial break before we get things going. When we come back, we'll have the starting lineups, our final keys to the game, and then the puck drop. It's Quinnipiac and Dartmouth. You're listening to the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network.
Hey, Quinnipiac Bobcat fans. This is Billy Mecca from the Bobcat Sports Network. Please join us this season at the TD Bank Sports Center for some excellent men's and women's basketball and ice hockey games. The TD Bank Sports Center is the best facility in college athletics, as it features family-friendly seating, prices, dates, and times. Please call area code 203-582-3905 or visit QuinnipiacBobcats.com to order your tickets now. Go Bobcats! Peace!
Qbsn, the flagship station for Bobcats soccer. Tune in live throughout the season as the Bobcats push for the Northeast Conference title.
Hello, all you Bobcat fans. This is John Alba of the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network, telling you to check out SportsFullCircle.com. Are you a fan of professional sports and collegiate sports alike? Then SFC is the place for you to check out daily editorials, columns, and breaking news about all of the sports world. Do you have interest in a career in sports writing or sports broadcasting? Sports Full Circle offers many opportunities to get involved with all types of content, ranging from blogging to podcasts. Anyone interested in applying for a spot at Sports Full Circle should contact John Alba at sportsfullcircle.com. That's JONALBA at sportsfullcircle.com, or check out at Sports Full Circle with no S on Twitter. Visitors can also check out the exclusive Qbsn page on Sports Full Circle, which links directly to all the tremendous content offered by the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network. So check out sportsfullcircle.com today. Not your...
And welcome back to the High Point Solutions Arena at the TD Bank Sports Center, high atop the York Hill campus of Quinnipiac University. It's the Bobcats taking on the Dartmouth Big Green. We'll run through the starting lineups for you. First, for the visiting Dartmouth Big Green. At left wing, Matt Lindblad. Center, Tyler Sakura. Right wing and assistant captain Dustin Walsh, the only player out there for the Dartmouth Big Green that has been drafted. He's with the Montreal Canadiens. And the defensive pairings, captain number 27 Mike Keenan, and the right defense number 23 Ryan Bullock. In between the pipes is Charles Grant for the Bobcats. It's the top line, Travis St. Dennis, Connor Jones, Kellen Jones, and on defense, one of the more surprising pairings so far of the season, Danny Federico and Mike Dahlhusen have done a great job staying out of the doghouse and have had some major games for the Bobcats so far this year. And in between the pipes, no surprise there, it's Eric Hartzell having an absolutely astounding season so far this year, Neil.
Definitely, and you made a note of Hobie Baker. It's real early to start thinking about that, but he's played so great this year, currently second in the nation with the goals against and in goals against average, that he's definitely a candidate. But he's the one key that I think Dartmouth has to attack tonight, because last weekend he showed a little bit of issues with rebound control here and there, especially in the Saturday 5-4 win for the Bobcats. And that's the one thing that Dartmouth should look to do tonight. My key to victory: get pucks in the net, crash the net, see if there's any rebounds against him.
All right, a minute before we drop the puck here at the High Point Solutions Arena. And tonight's game, Neil, is on Nesson, so we'll have to keep an eye on the TV timeout, something that we're not always used to at the High Point Solutions Arena. There's been a handful of TV games so far this year.
Definitely, and I think that just adds to the hype. Gets you more excited, you get more of a following. I know a bunch of my fellow friends here at QU students get to tune in while they're at home for winter break, so you really can't beat something like that.
And tonight, Dartmouth wearing their away greens with white trim. Bobcats wearing the alternate yellows with the blue trim. And it's these yellow jerseys really have turned into the home jerseys, excuse me. You don't see the home whites much anymore.
No, and it's always a superstition thing when it comes to teams. They never talk about it, though. That's the thing. You never say what jersey you're playing well in or anything like that. But clearly, with this unbeaten streak, they've had a number of games at home. You're always going to wear this yellow one. You don't want to get into a player's head and mix it up with a white one or anything like that.
All right, the teams are just about ready to get this one underway. Connor Jones will take the draw against Tyler Sakura. And the puck is dropped. The Bobcats win it. Dahlhusen will take control in the neutral zone and dump it in. And Charles Grant will grab that one out of midair and glove it down. Just 8 seconds gone in the first period. We'll have our first whistle.
really plain start to the game right there, but good to see them get to the blue line to dump it in, put a little pressure on Grant early.
The freshman goaltender in between the pipes tonight for the Dartmouth Big Green. Face-off won again by the Bobcats. Dahlhusen's wrister goes wide right. St. Denis picks it up in the near corner. St. Denis tries to work it around for Kellen Jones. Can't find it in his skates. And it's taken away by Connor Jones. Connor Jones, left wing side, centers in front for Kellen Jones. His shot gets deflected by Keenan. Connor Jones picks it up behind the net. Tries to cycle it around for St. Denis. Securo will pick it up in the near corner. St. Denis gets it back. Fans on a shot. Rebound comes out. Big hit in the slot from Kellen Jones on captain Mike Keenan. Puck comes out to the neutral zone now. Left side for Dartmouth. Walsh tries to send one on net. Deflected away by the Bobcats. Comes out to the point where Patterson's drive. Kicked away by Hartzell. And Bobcats will clear it down ice. And we're going to have our first icing of the game. 50 seconds in. We're scoreless and some good back-to-back action right there, Neil.
And a really great play there. Another one of those things that doesn't show up on the box score. It was a 2-on-1 for Dartmouth against Danny Federico. He went down to one leg to block that pass. Really good job by him to take away that offensive chance for Dartmouth.
Patterson to take the draw on the right circle against Connor Jones. That top line still hasn't been able to get a line change after they opened the game as the starting lineup. Robinson in the far corner gets to it for Dartmouth. And puck goes up and into the protective netting in the far corner.
And you made a note about how they weren't able to get a line change. That's where TV timeouts will come in play tonight. You wonder where they'll fall if it ends up being on an icing call like that. Maybe a line like this that wasn't that fresh can get that breather.
The puck going out of bounds, they'll be able to get that breather. And they're going to say the puck went off of a Dartmouth player, so the face-off will come out to the neutral zone. Far side, Langlois to take the draw for the Bobcats against Patterson. Langlois wins it. Both teams will battle for the loose puck on the near side. Pinkston will get there first for Dartmouth, taken away, though, by Quinnipiac. Here comes Clay Harvey on the left side. He has Jeremy Langlois in the middle. Harvey's shot is blocked away by Patterson, drives him to the boards, near corner for Langlois. Finds Pekka. Pekka sends a backhander off the boards, and taken away by Patterson again for Dartmouth. The pass ahead for McNally, too far for him, and Tolkinen races back, and we'll have an icing call. This time goes against Dartmouth. 1:26 into the first period. We're tied at 0.
It looks as if Quinnipiac's running the same forecheck there as they were last week. And I'm going to make a bunch of points about that tonight because they've been doing this 2-1-2 forecheck with two guys on the puck down the corner. It's worked out well for them with pressure on the opposing defenseman.
And Patterson gets thrown out of the face-off circle, and it'll be taken by the Bobcats. Davies at the left point. Circles it down behind the net. Arndt driven into the boards. Gets the puck away to Van Brabant. And Dartmouth regains control to get it out to the neutral zone. Arndt takes it off the stick of McNally, and Davies will send it in just over the red line. Grant out to play the puck to Andy Simpson. Arndt gets there first for the Bobcats, though. Takes it away from Simpson. Leaves it off for Van Brabant in the near corner. Jordan Samuels-Thomas applying pressure. Puck comes out to the slot. Shot on by Ben Arndt. Sticked away to the far corner. Ben Arndt, ECAC Player of the Week, with a very successful weekend last week against Nebraska Omaha.
Yeah, Arndt had a very good weekend last weekend, and it seemed like he was always in the right place at the right time, just being a smart forward, crashing the net well, getting the rebounds.
Zach Curry getting his first ice time since being injured last week. Gives it up to Tim O'Brien. O'Brien skates over the puck at the right circle. Lovejoy's shot is blocked down by Corey Hibbler. Hibbler back in the lineup again today for the Bobcats as well. Here comes Kevin Bowie, left circle. Bowie's shot is sticked away by Grant. It's Kevin Bowie that had the game-tying goal last Saturday against Nebraska Omaha.
That was a really good play there by Nick Lovejoy of Dartmouth. Bobcats had a potential 3-on-1, but good play by him to take away the pass from Bowie.
Shot from the point goes wide of Eric Hartzell. Bullock steps up in the near side half boards to keep it in for Dartmouth. About 3 minutes gone in the first period. We're still scoreless between Quinnipiac and Dartmouth. Quinnipiac, the number 5 team in the country, taking on Dartmouth, number 8 in the polls. Jack Barry in the neutral zone. Steps over the center ice line. Tries to dump it in. It's intercepted by Kellen Jones at the blue line, though. Puck finds its way back to Zach Tolkinen. Tolkinen looking up ice, trying to connect with either Kellen Jones or St. Denis. It goes wide of both of them, and Bullock gets back first for Dartmouth. No change for Quinnipiac. 16:47 left to go in the first period. We're still scoreless.
And you make note of how Dartmouth is number 8 in the nation. We talk about how great of a year Quinnipiac's having. This is the highest they've ever been, Dartmouth, in their program history. And they even got their first ever first-place vote this past week for the USCHO college hockey poll. So impressive from them.
Fly wins the draw for Dartmouth, but it's taken away by Kellen Jones in the neutral zone. Moves around Keenan, dumps it in. Charles Grant out to play the puck, though, for Dartmouth. Kellen Jones takes it in the far corner. Jones wraps behind the net. Jones still has it on his backhand, cycles back the other way. Tries to leave it off for Connor Jones. Connor Jones racing to the loose puck behind the net. St. Denis joins the battle, and it's Ryan Bullock that's able to swipe it out to the neutral zone for Dartmouth. They'll get a partial change as Davies drives one in on net. It's sticked away. Rebound comes out. Connor Jones' shot is tipped away. Kellen Jones picks it up in the near corner. Tries to feed it to the right point, but it went off Davies' skate as he was going off for a line change. Dartmouth coming the other way with it. Matt Lindblad will dump it in. Hartzell out of his net to play it. Davies now up ahead to the neutral zone. Here comes Matthew Pekka in with Jeremy Langlois. Pekka back to Langlois. Has it on his backhand. To the far corner. Sends it out to Curry. Curry can't keep it in at the right point. We'll move back out to the neutral zone and dump it in. 15:43 left to go in the first period. Quinnipiac 0 and Dartmouth 0.
Curry looks pretty good so far tonight. I mentioned before how he didn't play in the Sunday game of that last series, but he's solid skating tonight so far.
Dustin Walsh with a couple of nifty moves. Sends a wrist shot on that's stopped by Hartzell. Rebound comes out all the way to the neutral zone where Nick Lovejoy will take control of it for Dartmouth.
And I love it, Brian. This is great college hockey. When Lindblad skated by Hartzell there, he said something. Hartzell gave him a little bit of a slash to the leg pads. Just good old-fashioned love when you talk about college hockey there.
Arndt skates it in for the Bobcats, left side. His shot on goes off the side of the cage. Van Brabant battling for it behind the net with Patterson. Arndt down there as well for the Bobcats. Lovejoy sends Arndt to the ground. And Robinson will take it for Dartmouth. Out to the neutral zone it comes. McNally has his pocket picked by Dahlhusen, but Dartmouth able to get it back. Patterson can't control, though. Very aggressive play so far for the Bobcats in the first period. We're about 5 minutes gone, and we're still scoreless.
Great physical play from both sides, too. You can just tell it's these two teams that don't like each other, play each other multiple times a year, obviously, in the same conference. A battle of will out there, really.
Patterson with control of it for Dartmouth. Sends a backhander wide of Hartzell to the far corner. Dahlhusen goes high off the glass. Lifts one out to the neutral zone. Simpson gets, that's Keenan that get mauled over by Kevin Bowie. Hibbler picks up the loose puck. Hibbler on the right side. His wrist shot on. Stopped by Grant, and he'll cover it up for a whistle. The first one we've had in a few minutes, Neil.
Yeah, and Hibbler stepped over the blue line there. He didn't really look over to his left, and he should have because Langlois was streaking up the bench, and they had a chance for a potential scoring opportunity there. But it's kind of a weakish shot, you could say, from the far side, covered up by Grant for the whistle.
And we're going to get our first TV timeout of the evening. Certainly not our last. And again, we're scoreless, Quinnipiac and Dartmouth. 14:10 to go in the first period. And unofficially, shots on goal, Quinnipiac 4 and Dartmouth 2. And a lot of play in the neutral zone so far, Neil. But Quinnipiac and Dartmouth had a couple of chances really early on in that first period.
Yeah, definitely. Like I mentioned before, the Federico blocked pass goes unnoticed in this game because you don't see something like that pop up in the box score, but it was a great 2-on-1 chance. And the second forward that was trying to receive the pass from the Dartmouth forward, I'm blanking on it right now, was in the high slot with nobody in front of him. So if that pass had found a way to get through, he's in alone on Hartzell for a very good scoring opportunity.
And Charles Grant, the freshman in net for Dartmouth today. Freshman v. senior, Eric Hartzell getting a lot of attention so far this season with his stellar play. On the year right now, Eric Hartzell 14-2 and 2 in the .935 save percentage and a 1.43 goals against average. Just absolutely unconscious, it seems like, so far this year for Eric Hartzell. And maybe it's because he doesn't have Dan Clark breathing down his back anymore.
And you don't say anything to the goalies because they are creatures of, they're unnormal. And you don't want to say anything to them. You just say, good job, Eric, playing well.
Connor Jones will take the draw in the far right circle against Charlie Mosey. Face-off won by the Bobcats back to Alex Barron at the right point. Alex Barron playing the defense today for the Bobcats. He's paired up with Zach Davies right now, at least. St. Denis has it behind the net. Knocked away from him as Neely will take it for Dartmouth. Eric Neely's pass intercepted in the neutral zone by Kellen Jones. Jones coming in with Connor Jones. Has it knocked away from him, though, and Davies will have to reassess from the neutral zone. He'll dump it back in where Andy Simpson will take control for Dartmouth. Go cross ice on the far side. Now with it is Mosey. Mosey looks to dump it in. Intercepted by the Bobcats again, though. Kellen Jones ahead for Davies. Davies works to the left side for St. Denis. Tries to feed Connor Jones in the slot, and it's knocked away from him. And Kellen Jones will take it again for the Bobcats. He'll lift it into the Dartmouth end. Glove down by Pinkston. Pinkston quickly looking up ice. He's got Barry in the right circle. Barry's shot. Save made by Hartzell. Rebound comes out, and the shot goes wide by Bly.
Very interesting play there. Barry came off. His forward ahead of him took a line change. He went straight to the far blue line, trying to get a 2-line pass there. Potential one-on-one play in on, I believe it was Dalhousen on the point there. Interesting to see if that's the way Dartmouth looks to attack into the Bobcats end tonight.
And we get a whistle as the puck went up and into the Dartmouth bench. Cap Morris not playing tonight. Does make the glove save, though, on the far side. 13:04 left to go.
Can't count that one, but right there in the chest.
Like you said, they're strange creatures over there. Not talking about the Dartmouth squad, talking about goaltenders in general. We can say that about Eric Hartzell. 13 minutes to go in the first period. Center ice face-off. Quinnipiac controls. They'll dump it in, and Keenan will take it now for Dartmouth. Over to the Bullock. Bullock finds Sakura. He's stopped by Tolkinen at the line, though. Clay Harvey tips it ahead for Langlois. Langlois tries to leave it off for Pekka, though, and the puck finds itself into some laundry for a few minutes, and puck finally comes free in the neutral zone where Harvey will tip it ahead for Langlois. Langlois steps over the line. Bullock knocks it away from him, and puck will come free to the neutral zone again and dump back into the Bobcats. And we'll have a icing call here as Dahlhusen, I thought he might be able to have a chance to get to that puck with the long reach. Nonetheless, 12:30 to go in the first period. 0-0 is the score between Quinnipiac and Dartmouth.
And growing up, Brian, I played hockey my entire life as a forward. And the one thing my coach always screamed at all of us is keep your head up. Sakura did a great job there. Tolkinen was breathing down his neck for a big hit. Turned his back nicely to protect himself.
Left circle draw on the Dartmouth then. It's won by the Big Green. Dustin Walsh steps over the line. Walsh had it knocked away from him by Federico. Loose puck in the neutral zone coming to Samuels Thomas. He tries to make a spin move, loses control of the puck, and we'll get an offsides call as he was a little off there and kind of came in out of control, Neil.
I think that I mentioned this last week on Sunday. JST needs to chill a little bit. He's kind of been flailing his arms around a little bit of hooking, slashing here and there. He threw a Nebraska-Omaha player down hard last week, didn't get called. Had his hands up into Ferguson's mass there, entering into the zone. And right here again at the face-off dot.
Him and McNally are starting to get into it a little bit. McNally basically just drops away from him for a few minutes.
He didn't even set up with a face-off. He just stepped back towards the bench for that one.
Puck tied up on the far side half boards in the Dartmouth end. Circle it around on the near side. Federico keeps it in. Tip in front by Samuels Thomas. Rebound comes out. Arndt has it. And it finds its way loose on the near side. And we'll get a whistle as the officials lost sight of it, And just as we're talking about Jordan Samuels Thomas, almost had a pretty nice tip there in the left circle.
There's the tale of the two different sides of him. Like, as a coach, you love the enthusiasm. You love him playing with energy, but you want him to not be so chippy. There, he uses his big, long reach to get a good stick on that one. I believe it went through his legs.
Looked like it, yeah.
And then he put his stick behind him to tip that one. And Grant made an absolutely phenomenal save to slide over and keep that one from giving the Bobcats the lead.
And that's a good position stop by Grant, being in the right place, right time. Being set up for the rebound, too, from Arndt. And had that left post covered up well. And we'll have a TV timeout right now. Is just under 12 minutes to go in the first period. Quinnipiac and Dartmouth still tied at 0.
And that's one thing that Ben Arndt's done very well, crashing the net. Yeah. That's why he got ECAC Player of the Week last week. They've shown the Bobcats they're not afraid to take shots, crash the net from everywhere. The one goal he had in the Saturday night game, he shot from almost behind the red line, the goal line, and just squeaked his way through. That wasn't really a pretty goal if it had gone in for Quinnipiac, but another one of those tip in, smash it in right by the crease of the Bobcats.
Exactly, and that was one of those things that had been missing from the Bobcats for the past couple of seasons, and a lot of people had talked about that they wanted to see Scott Zaravinsky, the former captain for the Bobcats, get into those dirty areas. He had a good size, and Ben Arndt, I don't think he lines up to the same height or weight as Scott Zaravinsky as I look down at the line chart. Yeah, 5'11", 181.
Just from picturing him, I picture Zaravinsky, a big dude.
Yeah, he's about, I think my math, 35 pounds heavier than Ben Arndt, but still, I mean, you don't have to be a big guy to be able to hold those kind of positions.
Definitely, and they don't lack size on this line, though. They also have Jordan Samuels Thomas, who's 20 bigger than himself.
We're ready to get back underway now. Connor Jones will take the draw on the left wing circle against Brett Patterson for Dartmouth. In the Dartmouth end, Big Green wins it. Jeff Ferguson gets it out of the zone for Dartmouth. Ahead for Robinson in front of the Quinnipiac bench. Dump down. Hartzell will play it. He'll backhand it to the far corner where Curry ducks out of the way from a hit. Patterson to Robinson. Works it down low to McNally in the far corner. McNally backs off of his man, goes out to the point for Bullock. Bullock's drive stopped by Connor Jones, who laid out to stop it at the blue line.
That's why unbeaten streaks last the way as long as they do. That's one of those things that goes unnoticed, Brian, laying his body fully on the line to block that shot.
Kellen Jones coming the other way with it. His shot on net blocked away by Charles Grant. The puck comes free in the far corner. Patterson moves it up. Davies steps up the blue line to keep it in, even if just for another minute or two. Quinnipiac will get a line change thanks to the Davies forecheck.
Looked like Bullock got his shoulder shaken up there a little bit on that one. He was shaking his arm to try and maybe get rid of that stinger from the hip between Kellen Jones and him.
Puck dumped down to the Quinnipiac end. 10:55 to go in the first period. We're tied at 0 between Quinnipiac and Dartmouth. Clay Harvey up ice for Matthew Pekka. He'll tip it in. Back to get it is Pinkston for Dartmouth. Pinkston will leave it off on the far side for Andy Simpson. Puck out to the neutral zone. Glove down by Lauren Barron. Taken back by Dartmouth. Shot on net is stopped by Hartzell. Came from Lindblad, the far side, half boards.
And now that I have a second to actually say what happened there, Connor Jones, I was talking about the shot block. That's the one part of this team that really has gone so unnoticed and under the radar, is how they've been willing to lay down their full body. He was on the ice there, his whole body, to block shots from getting into Hartzell. And that it helps you win hockey games, plain and simple.
And even if he is one of your top scorers, he's still out there sacrificing his body.
Great point.
Face-off one in the Bobcats' end. Shot on, blocked by Samuels Thomas, this time at the blue line. Almost an identical play as you just saw from Connor Jones. Pinkston, though, regains, fires up ice for Walsh. Bobcats take it back. Here comes Ben Arndt. Ben Arndt on the left side. He has Samuels Thomas streaking in on the right. Centering feed goes off of Simpson's skate. Puck come to the near corner now. Samuels Thomas cycling. Works it down for Van Brabant. Van Brabant steps up the near side half boards, out to the point. Federico's drive goes wide left. Off the back of the cage, far corner for Arndt. Arndt can't control. Secura roofs it out to the neutral zone and down ice. Federico can get there, no icing call. Dartmouth gets a line change, 9:47 to go in the first.
What we noticed last weekend in this game was there was very live boards. Samuels Thomas went to the far side there to try and get the rebound off the back glass, but it didn't kick out far enough to him. But we have a stoppage now.
As Langlois ran into the net and it comes off of its moorings. That was something that happened almost non-stop last week against Nebraska.
And we've seen this in multiple games. There was the first goal, I'm going way back now, and I believe the Colgate game. Russell Goodman scored a goal like that when it went off the back boards, kicked over to him wide open on the far side. The goalie wasn't able to slide over yet because of the boards.
Hartzell comes out to play it behind the net. Bowie will take it in the near corner in his own end. Pressure put on by Eric Neely. Quinnipiac clears it to center ice. Down it comes into the Dartmouth end, near corner. Langlois chasing in on Lovejoy. Dartmouth looking for a center ice feed. Doesn't find anyone until Zach Davies touches it after the icing. 9:08 left to go in the first period. We're still scoreless at 0. Not a ton of offensive opportunity so far in this one, Neil.
No, not since those first couple of shifts, when the good chance that I keep talking about that Federico knocked away. And Grant looks really solid so far tonight in net for Dartmouth. And every time you say Neely, I'm going to keep looking up. Every time you say Neely. Some of my friends at home call me that. It's a funny coincidence there.
It's fun. I think Cam Neely when I hear Neely, but I'll now forever think of you.
I got called Cam Neely a few times in my day. Not as good at hockey, though, obviously.
No offense. Puck comes out to the point for Lauren Barron. His shot on, tipped by Kellen Jones. Rebound comes out for St. Dennis. He scores!
Unbelievable play there. All starts with Lauren Barron. These defensemen for Quinnipiac keep showing that as soon as they get the puck at the point, they're not looking to just dump it in the corner. Even if their shot on isn't that hard, they're throwing it towards net, trying to create chances. Kellen Jones comes out of the corner, gets a good stick on it, causing a rebound off of Grant's pad, kicks right to St. Dennis. Another forward just crashing the net, buries it, 1-0 lead. Great goal all around there for this line.
All right, so it's St. Dennis with the goal. 8:51 left to go in the first period. Quinnipiac with the 1-0 lead, and just as we said, there hasn't been too many offensive opportunities. Quinnipiac gets a nice one there. Puck out to the neutral zone now. Dumped into the Bobcats end. Alex Barron will glove it down. He's driven into the boards. The near side by Barry. Tied up in the near side half boards. Coming away with it, though, is Zach Davies for Quinnipiac. He has Pekka up on the far side. He connects. Pekka skates over the line. Pekka puts it on his backhand. Cycles in front. And there was no one there for Quinnipiac on the rebound. Harvey's drive from the left point is blocked down by the defense in the slot for Dartmouth. Puck comes back out to the neutral zone where Harvey will take control again. Harvey, cross-ice feed for Langlois. He can't control it off of his backhand. Driven nicely to the boards by Andy Simpson. Dartmouth coming the other way with it. Jack Barry steps over the line. Soft wrister on net, and Hartzell will grab it and take the whistle. 8:05 left to go in the first period. Bobcats now with the 1-0 lead.
Not to say that that was a soft goal by any means, but whenever a goalie gives up the goal in his 5-hole, I've always looked at it as like a shot to the heart almost. I wonder, see how they respond to that. See how this freshman responds on the road after giving up that first period goal.
Face off in the Bobcats end, won by Quinnipiac. Van Brabant steps over to the center ice line, tries to move around Bullock. Tied up, near side, comes out to the neutral zone. Brandon McNally tied up in front of the penalty boxes and clears it away for for Brett Patterson. Indirect off the boards for McNally. Can't be controlled at the point by Bullock. And he'll send one up into the protective netting behind Eric Hartzell, and we'll get another whistle.
Such quick action in this game tonight that there's been a few times when there's been linesmen or officials within the play. So that was almost basically 1-on-3 for the Bobcats as the referee was trying to get out of the way, waving his arms a little bit, and he couldn't get. He basically got sandwiched between the two Dartmouth defensemen.
We get another TV timeout.
And as I mentioned before to you, this is huge for this weekend in that when you play back-to-back games against conference opponents, the legs get weary, you wear down a little bit. You try and get as much water into the system or something to stay hydrated in these grueling conference games.
And you just noted that, Neil. Another Nesson game tomorrow night against Harvard. And while we've got a second, we talked about the crowd beforehand. Good crowd here again tonight, Neil. And even without the student section, there's more folks in the student section than there usually are for games.
And you wonder if it's just them reading up like, ooh, they've won 11 out of 12. So as this team continues to keep playing well, I'm looking to see this place start filling up more and more.
You'd really think it would have to start filling up, especially if the NHL decides that they can't come to terms on a collective bargaining agreement.
And we're big hockey fans. We'll always come out. And I wish it wasn't the case at our school, but this team's playing so well, you really do have to come out and watch them play.
Face off in the neutral zone, won by the Bobcats. Lauren Barron moves it to the far end for Tolkinen. Up ice finds Connor Jones. Tipped up into the air. St. Dennis will dump it down. Kellen Jones to chase after it. Sakura loses an edge. Centering feed in front for Connor Jones. His shot goes just wide. It was tipped in front. I believe it was Ferguson that was there for Dartmouth. Cross ice feed, Lauren Barron. Left circle, down low in the near corner now. Has the puck taken away from him by Dustin Walsh. Here comes Walsh with a little bit of speed up ahead. Has Lindblad there as well. Dustin Walsh loses control of it, though, as he steps over the blue line. Connor Jones comes the other way with it. Steps over Dartmouth's end, and his shot gets tipped up and into the protective netting.
And earlier this season, Matthew Pekka missed a couple of games, and during that time, Pecknell decided to go with St. Dennis on the line with the two Joneses. And there's only been a couple instances when they haven't been together, but these three have found a chemistry, especially St. Dennis, to gel well with the two brothers out there on offense.
Right circle face-off in the Dartmouth end, won by the Bobcats. A drive from Curry is stopped down in the slot. Rebound comes out. Grant sticks it away, and he's able to finally get a glove on it as a couple of players come crashing together. Langlois is getting knocked around a bit.
Well, Harvey got thrown to the ground right as that shot was coming through. It looked like Simpson put his stick right in Harvey's chest and just kind of turned him and threw him to the ground, similar to the way St. Dennis went down earlier. But as I mentioned, this is where you just let the boys play. ECAC hockey, teams aren't going to like each other. They've played multiple times every year. Let the boys play. It's college hockey. Good old fun.
Just some classic fun out there.
Just some fun.
Right circle draw again, this time won by Dartmouth. Pinkston will wrap it around off the boards. Out to the neutral zone it comes. Eric Neely gets a stick on it. Right side. His shot, odd angle. Stopped by Hartzell. Rebound coming out now for Jeremy Langlois. Cross-ice feed for Clay Harvey. Steps over the center ice line. Dumps it to the far corner. Rebound comes out. Langlois. Rebound for Harvey, and he couldn't get a stick on it. Harvey had all of the left side as it tipped off the left pad from Charles Grant. Mosey coming the other way with it now for Dartmouth through the neutral zone. Tim O'Brien sends it softly on Eric Hartzell, and he'll take the whistle there with 6:19 left to go in the first period. Curry now shaking it up a bit with Eric Neely after the play. Bobcats, though, with the 1-0 lead, and here's a little bit more action that we haven't been seeing so much of through the first period.
And I just saw Dartmouth coach Bob Gaudette clapping his hands, but Langlois just simply beat the Dartmouth defense from the puck there. It was Pinkston, I believe, just outskated them there to create a great chance for himself 3 feet out of the crease against Grant.
Right circle draw on the Bobcats end, won by Quinnipiac. Samuels Thomas racing to it in the neutral zone. Samuels Thomas has Dahlhusen streaking in. His shot deflected into the far corner. Ben Arndt up with it now. Arndt leaves it back again for Samuels Thomas. Tries to spin around Bly, gets knocked down to his knees. Backhander to Arndt. Arndt looking for a centering feed for Van Brabant. It's intercepted, though, by Dartmouth. Ahead through the neutral zone, Shearhorn. Shearhorn to the far corner. Working against Dahlhusen. Puck comes out right out in front of the slot. Moved by Bly. Stopped by Hartzell on the doorstep.
And that play all started with not really a turnover, but Dahlhusen was more tangled up with Dartmouth forward. He's lucky he didn't get called for a penalty there. I didn't see whose stick it was, but he slashed the stick out of the hand of one of the Dartmouth players, and it's sitting right now broken in the corner. Saw last week there was 3 or 4 times when that happened. Instant calls for slashing. Dahlhusen very lucky he got away with that one there.
1-0 Bobcats lead. 5:44 left to go in the first period. Right circle face-off. Patterson will take it against Connor Jones. And a big stop by Hartzell on Bly just a few minutes ago. Face-off won by Dartmouth. Lovejoy elects to circle it around to the far corner. Robinson will get there first. Tries to cycle it around. Lauren Barron intercepts. Tolkinen ahead and off the boards out to the neutral zone. Dartmouth, will dump it back in. Hartzell out to play it. Barron asking for it on the far side. Loops to the near side now, and St. Denis can't control as it comes free to the neutral zone. Connor Jones will race back to it in the Dartmouth end. Ferguson, spin move. Looking to clear still. Kellen Jones intercepts, though. Connor Jones looking for a centering feed for St. Denis. Couldn't get it there. Comes out to the point for Barron. Barron with space. Centering feed in front. Save made by Grant. Rebound comes out, and here comes Connor Jones with a wraparound attempt. He's knocked down. We're going to get a penalty coming up, and it's going to go against Brett Patterson. We're going to get a roughing call, I believe, here, with 5:02 left to go in the first.
And Connor's shaking his head a little bit, brushing some snow off of himself there after getting thrown to the ice. But that whole flurry started when Ferguson tried to backhand one out of the zone, and it never got off the ice. Didn't even have a chance really getting out of the zone. Created an offensive chance for the Bobcats, and ultimately a power play now for the Bobcats.
Quinnipiac's power play looking horrendous last Saturday, but coming away with 2 on Sunday. We'll see which monster shows up today. Left circle draw, face-off 1. Here comes Samuels Thomas. His backhander is tipped away by Pinkston. Samuels Thomas gets the rebound out to Dahlhusen. Quick wrist shot on, tipped down by Arndt in the slot. Puck comes free where Lindblad will take it and clear to the neutral zone. Dahlhusen will control and leave it back for Federico. So Brett Patterson in the box for another minute 40 of the roughing against Connor Jones. The roughing call on the hit against Connor Jones. Bobcats offsides, though, so we'll have a neutral zone draw. First power play opportunity of the game for either team. 4:40 left to go in the first period. 1-0 Quinnipiac with the lead.
And you make the note about which power play is going to show up. When your power play is on, it's on. When it's off, it's off. It's a matter of passing with this team. Sometimes they're a little bit too pretty, I'd say, with the passing, and sometimes they aren't doing enough.
They've got 4 forwards out there: Langlois, Pekka, Kellen Jones, Connor Jones, and Lauren Barron, the sole defenseman for Quinnipiac, and a huge hit in the far corner as Pinkston went down hard. I think it was Matthew Pekka that was down there. I couldn't quite see what the hit came from, Neil. Were you able to catch it? I was looking at Lauren Barron at the right point.
I was tweeting, sorry.
Classic social media.
I've been tweeting to try and update the power play here to get the power play numbers, but I heard it, and it was Pinkston, one of those situations where Pinkston's back was to Pekka, and in those situations you learn growing up, you got to pull off. You can't hit the player in that situation. I'm curious to see how much they give Pekka for a penalty for here. They're only going to give a moderate penalty, but that's just a dangerous hit on a guy who's really defenseless, you could say, heading into the boards.
Yeah, it'll be a boarding call against Matthew Pekka, so just like that, the power play is erased. We'll have 4-on-4 action for the next minute and 24 seconds. Mosey to take it left circle draw on the Bobcats end. Connor Jones on the other side for Quinnipiac. Pekka to the box for boarding. Face-off won by Quinnipiac. Kellen Jones inches it out to the neutral zone far enough where Dartmouth will have to dump it back in again. Hartzell gets crossed up a bit with Zach Davies. Coming away with it, though, is Connor Jones as his wrister goes high off the glass and out to the to the stands. Whew. Took me a second to find that one.
And more about the penalty now to Pekka. When you're on the man advantage like that, I understand setting the tone maybe with a big hit, but they've pressured the defense so well of Dartmouth tonight that they've turned the puck over multiple times. A hit like that really isn't that necessary, especially on the man advantage.
Yep. You are 100% right, Neil. You can play good defense, put on a good hit without taking a penalty. Bobcats come through in the neutral zone. Davies steps over the blue line, dumps it in off the boards into the far corner. Kellen Jones gets there first, moves it out to the point. Tolkinen has it. His wrist shot blocked away. Goes high off the glass. Connor Jones gets the rebound. We're at 4-on-4 hockey for another 49 seconds. 3:49 left to go in the first period. Bobcats still holding on to a 1-0 lead. It was Travis St. Dennis with the only goal, so far, as a dumping goes off of Tolkinen into the air, gloved down by Hartzell.
I played a hockey tournament when I was younger that was 3-on-3 hockey on an Olympic ice rink. University of Southern Maine.
That resulted in a 3-on-3, or was the game a 3-on-3?
It was a tournament, like a 3-on-3 tournament.
Oh, gotcha.
Whenever I see this is the most fun for me. I always get a little giddy up about it because it just gives you so much space. You see what the skill players can do. Well, I love seeing Pecknell put both Jones out there in the 4-on-4.
Dahlhusen in the near corner. Lindblad will take it for Dartmouth. Tries to find Pinkston. Pinkston now has it near side half board. Centering feed or a shot. It was one or the other. Either or, it went wide on the far side. Sakura picks it up, leaves it off for Lindblad. Lindblad pressured by Langlois out to the far point. Circled down below. Sakura moving around Dahlhusen on the near side. 10 seconds remaining on the penalty against Patterson. Dartmouth centering feed in front for Simpson on the far side. Simpson couldn't get a stick on it, though. He'll finally control another centering feed in front. This time it was Sakura that was tied up by Langlois. Out to Keenan. His drive blocked away by Hartzell. 5-on-4 for 26 more seconds for Dartmouth. Another feed in front this time coming off Lindblad. It was tipped away by Hartzell. Puck behind the net. Dahlhusen tries to put on a hit. Barry, near corner, out to Lindblad. Lindblad finds Keenan at the point. Fakes the shot. Still holding, far side. Simpson waits for Keenan. His drive stopped by Hartzell, and he'll cover it up with 6 seconds remaining on the power play.
And scouts in the building quickly learn Keenan's got a shot. He's got a big blast there from the point. And that first one that had a really good chance of beating Hartzell, it was because of the screen that Lindblad put in front. He passed the puck up to the point, went straight to Hartzell's face mask, basically, standing there. Hartzell did a great job coming out of the top of his crease, shifting his head around Lindblad to see that puck and block it down with, I believe, his shoulder.
Right circle face-off Arndt to take it for the Bobcats. They eventually win it back to 5-on-5. Ben Arndt steps over into the Dartmouth end. Ben Arndt has it knocked away from him. He regains in the near corner, leaves it off for Clay Harvey. Harvey works it down low, this time for Jordan Samuels-Thomas. Comes off the board. Centering feed for Harvey. His shot is tipped away by Grant. Out to the point for Davies. Finds Samuels-Thomas, far corner. 2 minutes to go in the first period. Quinnipiac with a 1-0 lead. Harvey has the puck stripped from him. And Barry will take it for Dartmouth. He'll go off the boards. And Dartmouth will get a line change. 1:50 to go in the opening period of play. Quinnipiac and Dartmouth. Quinnipiac, the number 5 team, against Dartmouth, number 8. A drive from the left circle. Blocked away by Hartzell. Big rebound comes out. Dartmouth delayed offsides. Quinnipiac will be able to regain possession. Lauren Barron tips one softly to the neutral zone. It's taken back by Dartmouth. McNally backhands. Far side for Robinson. Pressured by Lauren Barron. Puck goes off the linesman on the far side in front of the Dartmouth bench. And Dartmouth regains. Robinson steps over the line, fans on a shot, puts a backhander on. Patterson couldn't get a stick on it, and Quinnipiac recovers. Leaves it off, though. As Patterson, near side half boards, has it taken away from him, and it'll be Zach Davies in the far corner, going off the boards. Kept in by McNally, just barely. Patterson ahead for Robinson again, near side, far half boards. Cleared out to the neutral zone this time, though. 56 seconds remaining in the opening period. Langlois finds Kellen Jones. He'll backhand one high in the air to the far corner, and Quinnipiac will get a line change for themselves.
The Bobcats forwards are doing a great job getting back on defense in this game, and have really tangled up a lot of the Dartmouth players, and they're trying to get a shot off on Hartzell.
Puck tied in the near corner. Bowie down there for Quinnipiac. in their own end. Kellen Jones tips it out to center ice. 28 seconds to go in the first period. Quinnipiac 1, Dartmouth nothing. Here comes Walsh the other way now for Dartmouth. Dumps it in the near corner. Curry loops it around to the far side. Kellen Jones will leave it off for twin brother Connor Jones. Get there, though, is Lindblad. He takes it away. Kicks it over to the near side for Dustin Walsh. Walsh will dump it in. He's driven into the boards in front of the Bobcats bench. 5 seconds to go in the opening period. Tied up in the near corner. Lindblad down there for Dartmouth. Tied up with St. Denis, and the horn sounds. And a couple of extra pushes and shoves from St. Denis and Lindblad. Tolkien down there, as well as Curry and Walsh. So everyone just getting a little extra shove here and there.
And 2 linesmen and 1 official down there. And that hit on Walsh, actually, by the Bobcats bench here. Walsh then collided with one of the linesmen, and both of them kind of leaned over into the Bobcats bench a little bit. Some great physical play on both sides of the ice tonight.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with first period analysis, as well as we'll check around the league for all the scores with either ECAC in-conference play or some other teams that are involved in some non-conference action. I'm sure Neil will keep us up to date with what's going on with the University of Maine as well. You're listening to the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network. It's Quinnipiac 1, Dartmouth nothing. I'm Brian Farrell. Neil Ravin alongside me as well. We'll be back right after this.
This is Jack McDonald, Director of Athletics at Quinnipiac University. On behalf of all of our student-athletes, coaches, and parents, we are very grateful to the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network for broadcasting all our games all over the world to our Bobcat fans. Thank you, Qbsn.
You're listening to the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network. Check us out at theqbsn.com for game recaps, previews, feature articles, and so much more. Your internet home for all things Quinnipiac Athletics, theqbsn.com.
Have you been waiting for a campus magazine just for Quinnipiac ladies? It is here. Her Campus is an online women's publication with over 100 university branches. Keep up with the latest news, campus celebrities, and helpful blogs just for you at www.hercampus.com/Quinnipiac. Again, it is www.hercampus.com/Quinnipiac.
Carano's Barbershop is Hamden's newest and most unique barbershop. It's a combination of both class and classic, with an old-school feel, but a 21st century appeal. With reasonable prices, come on down for your next haircut. Located at 2460 Dixwell Avenue, right next to Tommy's Tanning. Make sure to like them on Facebook. Carano's Barbershop, where what's old is what's new.
You're listening to the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network, the official flagship station for volleyball, field hockey, rugby, and men's and women's soccer.
Ray and Mike's Deli, the deli destination for Quinnipiac Athletics. Come and try the new Quickwich named for Hamden's own Jonathan Quick. Also the fan favorites, the irresistible Mac Daddy and Steak and Cheese. Come in before or after the game, located at 3030 Whitney Ave. Cue cards are accepted.
From the outside, the TD Bank Sports Center screams excitement. Inside, it's even louder. It's another season of hard-hitting Quinnipiac ice hockey and red-hot basketball, side by side in one of college sports' most amazing venues for fans. Check the schedule and get your tickets at QuinnipiacBobcats.com. The Bobcats are making some noise this year. Are you? Yeah! Game on!
Hey Bobcat fans, don't forget to go to www.theqbsn.com for live broadcasts, game stories, pictures, and more. TheQBSN.com offers you everything you need to know about the Bobcat teams you know and love. Again, go to TheQBSN.com, the online home for your favorite Quinnipiac sports.
And welcome back to the High Point Solutions Arena. Quinnipiac 1, Dartmouth nothing. Battle of two top 10 teams so far this season. Quinnipiac with the 1-0 lead after the Travis St. Denis goal with That was 11:09 into the first period, and we bring on Neil Ravin, a color man, expert color analyst today.
Thank you.
With out-of-town scores.
I will say, though, first, for the tweeting comment, you say expert color analyst. I'm trying to do the tweeting also. Because it's winter break, we only have so many guys up in the booth tonight to be I'm trying to do some field production and color guy tonight. Make sure that if you want to follow us on Twitter, at Qbsn. I don't know how many followers we have exactly, but try and do quick updates during the game.
I think we've got almost as much as P. Diddy. I'm not 100% sure. I think we do have more than Tony DeStasio, our sports information director, but that's beyond the point.
So quickly, from the out-of-town scoreboards, the one big game that I made note of before was Yale traveling up to take on the number one team. Oh, not number one anymore, excuse me. Number 2 team in the nation.
Watch it there, mister.
Boston College Eagles. And BC is currently up 1-0 on Yale. Other teams in ECAC play in action. St. Lawrence is up 1-0 on RIT. BU is currently tied with RPI. And Princeton is leading Harvard 1-0. And another 1-0 score, Clarkson on top of UMass Lowell. And games still to come tonight. Union at Lake Superior and Cornell at Denver. And the last one that I made note of in the pregame, and the last one I'll make note of now, live from the Cumberland County Civic Center, the Maine Black Bears are currently tied against Mercyhurst. And
is that a 0-0 score we have so far?
1-1.
1-1.
I don't even want to get into Maine tonight. Let's not even talk about that.
Well, no, I mean, you're here for the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network. We're here to talk Quinnipiac Bobcats ice hockey, and we'll talk a little bit about that first period. Neil, what stuck out for you, at least on the Quinnipiac end?
Their forecheck was very solid, the same as last weekend, getting pressure on the defenseman. Sometimes maybe a little bit of too much pressure when Pekka goes and boards, I believe it was Pinkston, into the far corner. But they've caused a number of turnovers that have led to Bobcats scoring chances. It's that 2-1-2. They get 2 forwards behind the goal line, and that third forward's right in between the face-off dots in the slot there, waiting for the puck to kick out to him. Or if it rotates to the far side, then he steps in and forechecks. It's just that forecheck wears defensemen down. It wears their legs down because it makes them work that much harder to try and break the puck out. And that forecheck has been the key to this really unbeaten streak, I would say. One of the keys.
And what would you say, after Spencer Heichman graduated last year for Quinnipiac, one of the top forecheckers in the last 4 years, I would say, for Quinnipiac, one of the hardest working players that we've seen here. What kind of pressure do you think that put on the rest of the team to step up its forechecking game? Another Yuri Buharovich, another guy who graduated last year as well for Quinnipiac. 2 solid forecheckers that have needed gaps to be filled.
Do you see Spencer Heichman in Travis St. Dennis?
Yeah, I mean size-wise, cowboy pads.
Keep the feet moving a lot. Keep working. Not afraid to go after the guy that is clearly bigger than him in the corner. Sometimes get tossed around because you are smaller or whatever, but I've note of that. They've really just shown the Bobcats all year. Peckno's run all 3-4 lines again tonight. He's kind of kept that fourth line of Hibbler and Bowie and rotating in a forward off the ice tonight. Maybe that's because Hibbler is still coming back from injury. But all the lines do follow the system. That's really kind of the cliche thing that all teams always say, to follow the system or whatever. But all the lines do the forecheck. All of them get down dirty in the corners, trying to work hard on those defensemen. You see it top to bottom, players like Samuel Thomas, the 2 Jones brothers. I said like St. Dennis. Bryce Van Braven goes unnoticed how hard he works in the corners. They all buy into it. All the forwards do. And it's not the key. It's one of the keys for this unbeaten streak.
The way Van Braben has played of late, he may be setting himself up to be a candidate to have an extra letter on his jersey in years to come.
It's guys that work like that the rest of the team follows. Van Braben hasn't found the score sheet, I believe, in a while. And I keep making that note of the guys that make plays like that, like him and Federico with that defensive play. They go unnoticed how hard they work but they help you win hockey games because adding that little bit of timidness or fear into an opposing defenseman makes them think, like Ferguson did, you know what, I'm just going to backhand this one out of the zone. You never backhand a puck out of the zone. Never, ever, because
especially after a spin move.
Especially behind your own goal line. The puck has so much less chance of getting out of the zone, and it's in those situations where once it happens once in the player's head, hockey players are kind of they love to repeat themselves. I know I did that when I was a guy. You do the same thing over and over again. And opposing teams try to adjust to go against that, you could say. But adding that little bit of timidness to try and make these defensemen feel uncomfortable. The Bobcats routinely do it week in and week out against big defensemen like this team's got. This team's got, I believe, 4 defensemen over 6 foot tall. So make them wear down a little bit, lose some of that speed that they have, and it results in more chances for the Bobcats.
Dartmouth, though, no University of Nebraska, Omaha, that's for sure on their defensive end.
They're
What was
a little
it, 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" last week?
They're a little bit faster. The top defensive pair for UNO was 6'8" and 6'7". And they had the majority of the ice time. And you could easily tell by the end of it they were worn down. And obviously they're getting Dartmouth in the first game of this weekend series. But that's the real key when it comes to hockey. Besides my goaltending rants that I go on, is how hard that you battle against the other team's defensemen, and you make them wonder when they go back for that puck. Geez, where is that forward going to hit me from? Should I be worried? Should I try and get this puck out quickly? Should I try and find my man? Get them second guessing. It results in turnovers. It results in offensive chances. And if it wasn't for Grant tonight, which he's got a little bit unnoticed himself, this game might not be 1-0.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more on the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network. Once again, I'm Brian Farrell alongside me, Neil Ravin. Quinnipiac with a 1-0 lead after the first period. After the commercial break, we'll be set for second period action. Once again, you're listening to Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network. We'll be back right after this.
Hey Bobcat fans, follow us on Twitter and Facebook for daily updates, reminders, and more from the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network, the online home for your favorite Quinnipiac sports.
Saturday night is hockey night here on the Qbsn.com. Tune in at the conclusion of every Saturday men's or women's hockey broadcast for Hockey Night in Hamden. Join QBSN's finest hockey broadcasters, writers, and analysts as they break down the weekend that was Quinnipiac ice hockey. Discussions, debate, arguments, and the occasional 5 for fisticuffs, all in a 1-hour program live at theqbsn.com. Want something debated during the program? Well, email us at hockeynightinhamden@gmail.com or tweet at HamdenHKYNight. When overtime just isn't enough, we've got your extra hockey. So join us at theqbsn.com Saturdays following the last hockey broadcast for Hockey Night in Hamden, your exclusive Quinnipiac ice hockey talk show.
Catch all of the exciting action for the Quinnipiac volleyball team exclusively here on the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network. Make sure you also check out more game summaries and feature articles only at theqbsn.com.
Hey, Quinnipiac Bobcat fans. This is Billy Mecca from the Bobcat Sports Network. Please join us this season at the TD Bank Sports Center for some excellent men's and women's basketball and ice hockey games. The TD Bank Sports Center is the best facility in college athletics as it features family-friendly seating, prices, dates, and times. Please call area code 203-582-3905 or visit QuinnipiacBobcats.com to order your tickets now. Go Bobcats. Peace.
Qbsn, the flagship station for Bobcat soccer. Tune in live throughout the season as the Bobcats push for the Northeast Conference title.
Hello, all you Bobcat fans. This is John Alba of the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network, telling you to check out SportsFullCircle.com. Are you a fan of professional sports and collegiate sports alike? Then SFC is the place for you to check out daily editorials, columns, and breaking news about all of the sports world. You have interest in a career in sports writing or sports broadcasting? Sports Full Circle offers many opportunities to get involved with all types of content, ranging from blogging to podcasts. Anyone interested in applying for a spot at Sports Full Circle should contact John Alba at sportsfullcircle.com. That's JONALBA at sportsfullcircle.com. Or check out at Sports Full Circle with no S on Twitter. Visitors can also check out the exclusive QBSN page on Sports Full Circle, which links directly to all the tremendous content offered by the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network. So check out SportsFullCircle.com today, not your average sports blog.
And this is not your average ECAC competition matchup as we've seen in the past couple of years for the Quinnipiac University Bobcats. Quinnipiac, number 5 team in the country, taking on the number 8 team in the country, Dartmouth. I believe this is the first top 10 matchup that we've seen with Quinnipiac here on home ice at the TD Bank Sports Center since I believe the UMass Amherst game from my freshman season. That would have been 2009, 2010. But that's the last time that we've seen a pair of top 10 teams in the rink. Neil, you trying to go through?
I think I agree with that one completely. I think that it's more true. You got to make note of. It's not just top 10. It's top 5 when it comes to pairwise. Quinnipiac's number 2, Dartmouth's number 4, and the all-important pairwise, where that's what determines when these teams can get an at-large bid for the NCAA tournament at the end of the season.
For folks kind of new to college hockey, that's exactly what Neil was just talking about. The pairwise rankings, a lot like a BCS kind of ranking where you've got a computer-based system that has been proven to be exactly right over the past
And as opposed to the
years.
BCS, I don't think that the pairwise takes as much heat as the BCS
No,
does.
I don't think it takes any heat, to be honest with you.
I think that it's very clear and it's very set in stone because there's so many games, and it's a matter of who you beat. If you beat the good teams, you get ranked up high. Bobcats 6-0 against ranked teams this year. That's why they're number 2 in the nation in pairwise.
And a quick note to make of, we only have about 10 seconds here, but Connor Jones in the first period, as you look at the face-off, he won 9, he only lost 2, and Ben Arndt won 6, and he only lost 1. So Quinnipiac leading after the first period 18-9 in face-offs won. So that's something to look at as we move through the rest of the way.
I talked to Kellen Jones once about his brother's face-off ability, and he said if I faced my brother 100 times on a face-off, he'd win 99 out of 100 face-offs.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
I think Kellen Jones might be cutting himself short a bit there.
But Connor's is so solid with his hands right in the opening draws, though.
Certainly is, and right as we say that, puck jumps up and into the Dartmouth bench. 5 seconds off the clock during the second period. Quinnipiac again with the 1-0 lead over the Dartmouth Big Green. Almost said Big Red on that one.
Cornell.
Yep. A lot of colors in the league. We got the Harvard Crimson coming tomorrow. Puck dumped down on the Quinnipiac end. Dahlhusen will take it for the Bobcats. Deflects off of Kellen Jones' skate. Connor Jones will pick it up and work it back into his own end. Goes cross-ice with Danny Federico. Tip pass to Travis St. Dennis, and it finds its way back out to Danny Federico. And we're going to get a hand pass call, it looks like, against the Bobcats.
More situations where I don't know what's with these boards. I know when I played hockey, the first thing you did when you went out to warm-ups is you shot the puck around the boards. You saw if there's any kinks or any of the funny bounces that happen. But these boards are so wide, the puck always seems to be bouncing on edge or something on this ice. It's a funny, maybe advantage, you could say, for the Bobcats at times. If they get used to it, that is, and the puck bounces their way.
Face-off 1 in the Bobcats end. Taken back by Walsh. Centering feet in front. Jumps up into the air and loose in the slot. It comes free to the near point and out to the neutral zone. Keenan wasn't able to keep it in. And sort of a funny bounce there as well. As Dartmouth dumps it back in again, Hartzell will glove it down and leave it off for his defense. Dartmouth regains control, though, in the neutral zone. Taken back now, though, by the Bobcats as Harvey skates in. Harvey tries to center one. It goes off the back of the cage. Here comes Dartmouth the other way, a 3-on-2. Bullock right side for Walsh. Walsh puts it on his backhand. Walsh inches around and can't get a shot off as he goes by Hartzell. Here comes Quinnipiac going the other way with it. Pekka steps over the line, leaves it off for Langlois. Near side. Van Brabant, fresh off the bench, keeps it in at the near point. Works it down low. Pekka's pass deflected. And McNally will take it for Dartmouth. Tries to work it ahead. It's intercepted again, though, by the Bobcats. Van Brabant steps over center ice. Goes high off the glass. Dumps it down past the stick of Charles Grant.
Not a very good pass up to the point there by Pekka. He was looking for Lauren Bear on the far side. And it was Robinson of the Dartmouth that got a stick on it. Almost a potential breakaway out of his own zone.
Tolkinen up ice. As a shot on net comes from Jordan Samuels-Thomas. Goes wide and puck comes back out to the neutral zone. Van Brabant will race after it. A huge hit in the neutral zone as he lays out Simpson on the boards.
Hard to get up after that hit. That was a solid shoulder right to the chest, and the noise could be felt throughout this building.
Almost could have been a boarding call. It was so hard, and Simpson went flying through the air.
That's one of those right on the edge ref discretion ones, I think. It wasn't one of those hits where he went up high, but he was a good 3 or 4 feet away from the boards, and they kind of got tossed back right by his own bench.
And a loose dump in is covered up by Eric Hartzell. Will get a whistle. 17:42 left to go in the second period. Quinnipiac 1, Dartmouth nothing.
I always hated getting hit hard like that in hockey because you feel like everyone's watching you get back up off the ice.
Face-off won by Dartmouth. Wrist shot on from the right point. Hartzell able to find it through the traffic and make the stop.
I don't know if he saw that one all the way. When that hit his chest, he kind of flinched a little bit like, ooh, got that one in my glove. Good shot there from the point. Found its way all the way through all those bodies.
Face-off again in the right circle. Connor Jones will take it against Patterson. And Jones wins it back to Zach Curry. Curry will leave it off on the far side for Davies. He'll go cross ice for Kellen Jones. Kellen Jones passed behind him, but he's able to get a stick on it. Works it down below the net. Connor Jones has it. He's knocked into the boards. And Kellen Jones will loop it around to the right point. Curry, quick wristed on. Shot stopped in front by Grant. Rebound comes out, though, for Connor Jones. Out to the left point for Davies. Davies holds his wrist shot high off the glass behind the net. Bowie finds Curry at the right point. He'll softly dump it down in the far corner, and Dartmouth will regain.
Connor and Kellen are flying tonight, and that rebound chance there was all because of Connor crashing the net. Grant got a little bit, don't want to say nervous, but when the puck hit his chest, he saw Connor coming out of the corner of his eye, fumbled the puck a little bit, and then he couldn't get it back for a face-off in his own zone.
We had a right circle face-off after the icing against Dartmouth. Dartmouth may have a tired squad out there after a couple of good lines by Quinnipiac. A couple of good shifts. 3 minutes gone in the second period. It's 1-0 Quinnipiac. Face-off won, though, by Dartmouth. Ryan Bullock will wrap it around the far side half boards. Cleared out by Barry, and Federico gloves it into the Dartmouth bench, so we'll have a whistle, and Dartmouth will be able to get a line change.
Almost looked like he kind of slam dunked that one into the Dartmouth bench. He kind of tried to catch it, fumbled it a little bit, didn't get a good handle on it. Falls into Cab Morris's glove almost. Goalie on the bench trying to make some saves also. Come on.
Yeah, he's got one already tonight.
Yeah.
Faced off at center ice. Hibbler will take it for Quinnipiac, and Bly wins it for Dartmouth. Dumped down into the Bobcats end. Federico has a little bit of trouble controlling it. Out to the far side for Bly. Bly tries to put a backhander on. He gets knocked away, though. Federico loses his stick on the play, and he's tied up on the far side without a stick at the point. Luckily, Bowie was there to bail him out. Shot on from the center ice goes over Hartzell as he tries to glove it down. He fed the stick out to Federico, so Federico back with his stick. A shot goes through the crease wide. Kept in by Dartmouth. Near corner. Bly leaves it off for Barry. Barry sends it out to the right point. A drive blocked down by the defense for Quinnipiac. It was Bowie that laid out to make the stop as St. Denis dumps it in. We're going to get a penalty coming up here against St. Denis. I think it's going to be a cross check. Walsh will take control of it in the neutral zone. Walsh leaves it off. Tokinen will take control, and really no reason for that by Travis St. Denis. It's going to be a high sticking call, on the hit from Travis St. Denis right in front of his own bench as he was coming off.
Kind of reminds me similar to the Pekka penalty. You're trying to set some tone. You're bringing that energy. You're trying to put pressure on these defensive Dartmouth, and just takes out the captain of Dartmouth, Keenan, there with a high stick. Not really necessary when you're in the neutral zone and the puck's not even on your stick there. No, it's being dumped back in behind Grant's net.
Exactly, and the puck, it was by them by that point when St. Denis tried to make that kind of hit on him. So really a sort of a dumb penalty right there by St. Denis.
And I said bonehead last week about a penalty that Dow Houston takes. You know what? Bonehead again, because it's just one of those things that is unneeded, and you're giving Dartmouth a chance to get that momentum shift back in their favor with a power play here.
Neil Ravin not afraid to tell it like it is. 4:02 gone in the second period. Bobcats with the 1-0 lead, but Dartmouth will have a power play opportunity as we come out of first TV timeout of the second period.
You know, I'm sure Petnell refers to that as in a totally different way down there with his frustration for something like that.
It might even use different selected words. Right circle draw. Sakura will take it against Matthew Pekka. Be Sakura, Robinson, Simpson, Lindblad, and Walsh out there for Dartmouth on this power play. Robinson, his shot blocked down by Zach Davies. Davies loses his glove on the play. Walsh has it in the near corner. Walsh looking for a centering feed in front, and couldn't get a stick on it. It was Sakura that was right there. Sakura, excuse me. 1:40 to go on the power play for Dartmouth. In the box is St. Denis after the high sticking call. Lindblad through the neutral zone. Dumps it in the near corner. Hartzell comes out, thinks about playing it. It dies before it gets to him. Pekka going out. Simpson's able to get there. Here comes a 2-on-1 possible opportunity for Quinnipiac. Davies, his wrist shot on. Save made by Grant. Rebound comes out, and Davies couldn't get a stick on it. It was a pair of defensemen coming in for a 2-on-1, so not a lot of speed coming from Davies and Curry.
Well, you got 3 defensemen out there right now with Davies, Curry, and Federico. So, unfortunately for Davies, he couldn't get that puck over to Curry, and his shot wasn't really that great of a shot. Also, hit straight on the, I believe, the R of the Dartmouth and Grant's chest.
56 seconds remaining on the power play for Dartmouth. Coughed up in the neutral zone as Dahlhusen will take it back. And here comes Jeremy Langlois racing in. Langlois has the puck knocked away from him by Bullock. A good defensive play there by Dartmouth's Ryan Bullock. Puck comes free again in the neutral zone, though, as Dahlhusen will take control of it for Quinnipiac. He leaves it off for Harvey on the far side, and he dumps it down. 30 seconds to go on the power play for the Big Green.
We're seeing the Bobcats use those boards now. That play was set up for Langlois, just kind of thrown up indirect, kicked off nicely to him, but a good stick there by Bullock to deny him an offensive chance.
Puck comes out to the right point. McNally just able to keep it in. Still holding on to it. McNally sends it down to the far corner. Langlois will just clear it down ice, and that'll do it for the power play for Dartmouth. Quinnipiac and Dartmouth, 2 of the top penalty-killing teams in the country, and you're seeing so tonight.
Another situation where there was a slashing not called. Dartmouth forward on the far side tried to slash Dahlhusen's stick. His stick ends up breaking. Has to go off the ice for a change.
O'Brien gets a stick on it. Hartzell will backhand it around his own net to the near corner. Dartmouth regains, though. Centering feed for Neely. Neely tries to move around Ben Arndt. And here comes Matthew Pekka now in the neutral zone. Pekka, cross-ice feed for Arndt. He falls down, and it causes an offsides as St. Denis was in a little too early. 13:27 to go in the second period. It's 1-0 Quinnipiac.
Dartmouth has some more life, I would say, this period as they did at the end of the first period. They've been dumping it in more, getting some pressure on the Bobcats defenseman. Almost a goal earlier after a turnover by Dahlhusen when he got his pocket picked behind Hartzell's net.
Face-off won by the Bobcats. Alex Barron will dump it in, and it'll be gloved down by Charles Grant. 13:21 left to go in the second period. We'll have a face-off in the Dartmouth end at the right circle. Quinnipiac leads 1-0 after the goal by Travis St. Denis in the first period. Nothing doing after that for either team. Ben Arndt will take the draw in the right circle against Mosey. Arndt wins it to Jordan Samuels-Thomas near corner. Leaves it off now for Arndt. Arndt around for Van Brabant. Backhander out to the left point. Barron holds, works it for Alex Barron now. His wrist shot tipped away by Jordan Samuels-Thomas in front. So Lauren and Alex Barron working the points right now for the Bobcats. Alex Barron, right point, tips it down low. Arndt tries to center it in front. No one there for Quinnipiac as Arndt's got a hook in on Mosey. No call coming, though. Lucky for the Bobcats.
I think he tried to put his left hand up there to say that he couldn't get his stick out, and the official kind of gave him a little bit of recognition for that. And Arndt was trying to pull his stick out of the guy's arm, but he couldn't.
And Lauren Barron drives one up ice that gets tipped up and into the Bobcats bench. 12:34 left to go in the second period. Still 1-0 Quinnipiac.
And Connor Jones daps up Lauren Barron there with a little smile on their face, probably saying something like, "Why are you shooting towards our bench?" Puck ends up going right towards Pecknell, it looked like.
Probably not the first time that's happened in his long tenure.
Frustrate a player in practice or something like that. I never did that when I was a player. I was too scared he'd bench me.
Lauren Barron, too nice of a guy. I'm not sure if he would do that. Who knows, though? They're all different players out there on the ice. Puck down in the near corner in the Quinnipiac end. Tolkien leads it ahead for Kellen Jones. Kellen Jones goes cross-ice, off the boards for Bowie. Bowie, left side, centers it on for Connor Jones. It's tipped away by Bullock. Far corner, Sakura. He sends it ahead for Lindblad. Steps over center ice. Sends it down on Hartzell. Hartzell will play it over almost right under the stick of Sakura. Kellen Jones comes away with it, knocked away from him by Lindblad, though. 11:50 to go in the second period. 1-0 Quinnipiac.
Connor Jones and Kellen Jones have been double shifting a lot with Bowie, and that's where tomorrow night we'll get a good chance to see how well conditioned this team is with their legs as they stay out there for a longer shift right now.
Dartmouth still controlling in the Bobcats' end. Out to the left point for Ferguson. His drive blocked away by Kellen Jones into the far corner. Davies picks it up. Patterson working for it down in the far corner as well. Lindblad there. And it's cleared away to the neutral zone where Kevin Bowie will smartly dump it down and into the near corner. The rest of his teammates will get a line change, and Kellen Jones will get the last of it. Through the neutral zone as Ferguson steps over center ice, dumps it down behind Eric Hartzell. Getting there first is Dahlhusen, wraps it around to the far side. Stepping up is Andy Simpson to keep it in. Federico with the follow-up, tips it off of Hartzell and back out to center ice. Rick Pinkston off the glass behind the net. Wheels around to the far corner. Robinson can't control, and Quinnipiac will come the other way with it. Harvey up ice for Langlois. Langlois fans on the shot. Still has control, though, behind the net. Langlois moves around a defender. Pekka's wraparound. Rebound in front for Pekka again, and his shot was denied.
I've been very impressed by Grant tonight. He's had good side-to-side movement. He's doing well getting to those posts and hugging those posts. And there again, Pekka came around the side, tried to slam it home, and Grant kept denying him, said, no, not this time.
And a quick shot on net by Dahlhusen with a little bit of speed. Gets a whistle, and we'll go into another TV timeout. 10:21 to go in the second period. Quinnipiac 1 and Dartmouth nothing. Quinnipiac unofficially 14 shots on goal. Dartmouth unofficially at 12. This hasn't been an abnormally offensive game or anything like that. Hasn't been quite a bit out there, but good back and forth play. Pretty solid so far by both teams, defensively at least.
Defensively, and I think that we're seeing the defensemen too wear down a little bit as Dartmouth has gotten in a better forecheck so far this period than they did the first period. There was a shift, this past shift, where the puck got dumped into our near side corner, and Dahlhusen was looking over his shoulder multiple times to see where the forward was coming from for Dartmouth. So, as I mentioned for Quinnipiac, how key that's been for them, it looks like Dartmouth starting to get in the head of a few of the Bobcats defensemen, trying to cause a little bit of pressure on them, make them feel timid, make them feel nervous, and try and cause some turnovers, possibly some offensive chances for them, because they've had a few good shots in the Hartzell, but they really haven't tested them the way that Hartzell was tested this past weekend against Nebraska Omaha.
On this win streak that Quinnipiac has, this unbeaten streak that Quinnipiac has had, there's only been a handful of these low-scoring games. There was a 3-2 game, if you want to call that low-scoring, against Colgate, the 3-2 win in overtime, a 2-2 tie against UMass, a 2-0 win against Providence, and outside of that, those have really been the lowest of the scoring that we've seen from Quinnipiac lately. Van Brabant drives his man into the boards on the far side as Dartmouth clears to the neutral zone. Jack Berry off the boards, dumps it in. Into chase is Lauren Barron. We're going to get an offsides call, an icing call. Lauren Barron was well back on that puck. It looked like he was behind it almost. I'm surprised nothing was called there, that he could have made a play on it. Bob Goddett agrees, I think, with me on that.
And you mentioned some low-scoring games. Key for the Bobcats tonight, Dartmouth is a high-scoring team themselves. They've averaged over 3.5 goals a game, and they really limited their scoring chances so far in this contest.
Kellen Jones' shot from the point is deflected down in traffic. Connor Jones picks it up, finds Lauren Barron out at the point. His shot makes its way through traffic, and it's tipped away by Grant.
Grant was being screened by his own defenseman there, Bullock for a little while, as he was standing right on top of his crease almost.
Shearhorn will dump it in to the Bobcats' end. Lauren Barron back there to get it. Barry in on the forecheck, though, doing a good job holding him up, but looks like he did too good of a job, and gets called for a holding there.
Is that holding is going against
Barry.
Barry. You know, I give Barry the benefit of the doubt there. Lauren Barron had one hand on his stick that had the puck, pulled his other hand off, and was grabbing Barry back himself, which was more, the holding was more on Lauren Barron, but you never see an official make a call like that where they call a player with the puck for a holding. But Bobcats get the benefit of the doubt there, and they'll go back at the power play.
Second power play opportunity of the game for Quinnipiac. They did not have a full 2 minutes last time after after Matthew Pecco went to the box. Tolkanen has it at the right point. Leaves it for St. Denis. Back to Tolkanen. His drive gets deflected in front. Into the near corner it comes. St. Denis. Around the boards now, Arndt. Circles it around for Jordan Samuels-Thomas. Back to St. Denis in the near side half boards. St. Denis comes off the board. His shot goes just wide of the left post. Davies has it at the left point. Over to Tokinen now. Tokinen waits, fires. His shot goes wide. Now here comes Jordan Samuels-Thomas out to the point. Rebound comes right out in front. Samuels-Thomas swipes away at it, and he can't get enough on it. It gets deflected to the near corner. Tokinen, right point. His wrist shot on. Blocked down by Sakura. He's without a stick, and he'll race back.
Looks like the blade just fell straight out of his stick there. Just the shaft sliding over to the corner.
St. Denis, his centering feed for Samuels-Thomas. Back to St. Denis. His shot on goes wide left. Ben Arndt almost had a chance on it. Good opportunities by Quinnipiac. 57 seconds remaining on the power play opportunity.
They're doing what you need to do well on the power play. They're moving the puck. They're getting to open space, creating chances for themselves. Trying to find that back door. It's almost there for the Bobcats tonight.
Here comes Connor Jones. His shot on net is stopped by Grant. And we'll get a whistle. 44 seconds remaining in the advantage for the Bobcats. 8:23 left to go in the second period. It'll be an in-zone faceoff for the Bobcats.
And that's a situation where it was technically almost a 5-on-3 for the Bobcats, as Sakura had lost his stick. His stick had broke, but I don't really think it broke. It looks like a very clean, fine shaft. This one over there, but the blade, I think, fell out. I didn't even see where the blade went, though, on the ice.
Faceoff won by the Bobcats. Kellen Jones give and go with Lauren Barron. Kellen Jones works it down low. Near corner, Connor Jones has it now. He's driven into the boards. Pekka finds it way out to Kellen Jones. One timing drive from Lauren Barron. Rebound comes out. Pekka can't control it on his stick, though. Lovejoy gets there in the near corner. Langlois gets it back. Trades with Pekka. Out to the point for Kellen Jones. He can't keep it in, though, and he'll have to work it back to the far side for Lauren Barron. 15 seconds to go on the advantage. Time for one more rush. Pekka leaves it off for Kellen Jones. Back down for Pekka. Pekka out to the point for Lauren Barron. He tries to one-time pass over to the near side. And Pekka will have to reassess in the neutral zone. Ahead for Lauren Barron. He steps over the line. Barron works it down low for Kellen Jones. Jones puts it on his backhand. Save made. Rebound covered up by Grant.
Another situation where Grant's holding that post well. Kellen Jones really had nothing to shoot for, as Grant was already down on the butterfly. Held his pads in together. It's kind of nice, not easy stop, but denied Kellen Jones nicely there.
It also helped that Ferguson was laid down right out in front of him. There wasn't too much that you could feed it off of.
He had his legs sprawled out basically over the crease, and there was really nothing for Kellen Jones to do but skate into the two of them and try and put like a weak shot backhander that went straight into Grant's pads.
Jeff Ferguson, one of the freshmen on the team, on the Dartmouth team today, playing his juniors at Sioux City with the Sioux City Musketeers. One of my favorite names in junior hockey, along with the Bismarck Bobcats that we also see on the roster for Dartmouth today. Charlie Mosey playing his time with the Bismarck Bobcats. So he had his own time with the Bobcats, unfortunately not here with Quinnipiac.
This is why, you know how great hockey fans you and I are, Brian. When you get away from the NHL and the AHL teams, some AHL teams, you get these awesome names on the junior teams also from all over. All these Canadian names are just like so fun to hear, and you know that's one thing I want to do when I get older. Go to a number of junior hockey games in Canada, experience some of these teams up there.
Or you could head down into the Alexandria Blizzard, where Jacob Myers played his junior time in the NAHL. I'm not sure how much of a hotbed Alexandria is for hockey, but Tempe, Arizona doesn't seem like much of a hotbed, and that's where Jeremy Langlois originally came from. So you never know where hockey can find its way out of the corners of America.
Definitely.
7:28 to go in the second period. 1-0. Quinnipiac with the lead. Puck down in the Quinnipiac end. Dahlhusen able to take it away from Sakura. Trying to find Van Brabant in the neutral zone. It was behind him as he got knocked down by Keenan. No penalty coming, nor should there have been one. Sounded like the crowd was looking for something out of it. Good-sized crowd, as we had mentioned earlier on today. There are plenty of empty blue seats, but not as many as we were seeing at the start of the season for Quinnipiac, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'd say probably a little bit over 2,500 tonight here coming out to support the Bobcats and Dartmouth in a big game.
Big game, certainly. We see some green sweatshirts and jerseys around as Lindblad's drive gets tipped away over the protective netting and almost up to the final row up in the far corner there. It's a heck of a tip.
Almost like a field goal getting up over the net there.
Now, as a baseball guy, I figured you'd go for a pop fly or a fly ball to the outfield.
Well, if you want to call the end of the net there, the foul pole, it just got inside the pole. It's like a home run almost, you could say.
Just in there. 6:46 to go in the second period. 1-0 Bobcats lead. Faced off in the Quinnipiac end. Draws tied up on the near side circle. Coming away with it is Matthew Pekka with a little bit of speed on the near side. Here comes Pekka. Pekka puts it on his backhand, tries to move around his defender, loose in front, and we're going to have a penalty coming up, a hooking call, and it's going to go against Dartmouth for a split second. I thought there was a small chance for a penalty shot there, Neil.
There was
not enough space for it.
Not enough space, and it was more of a 3-on-2 anyways. You know, it's one of those calls where the new rules that came into place a few years back, you really can't get the stick up into the midsection like that. You're going to get called. And it looked like Pekka even gave a little bit of a word there to Simpson before he went off to the box.
Face off in the right circle. Bobcats 0 for 2, but some good opportunities on their last power play opportunity. And Dartmouth wins the face-off, cleans it down ice. It'll be 2 minutes hooking on Andy Simpson for Dartmouth. And here comes Kellen Jones to the neutral zone. Leaves it off for Lauren Barron, right side. Lauren Barron leads one for Kellen Jones. It was too far ahead for him, though. Tied up in the far corner is Pekka. Pekka leaves it off for Connor Jones now. Jones has to cycle back to the far corner. Wheels it around to Lauren Barron. Barron back to Pekka in front. Pekka, his soft shot on net. Looked like he was trying to deflect it off of a player in front. Cleared down again, where Eric Hartzell will stick it up to Kellen Jones. Ahead now for Lauren Barron. Cross-ice feed in traffic, and it gets knocked away by Dartmouth. Pekka will clear it over to the far side. Cross-ice for Connor Jones. He steps over. His wrist shot goes wide and off the glass and past Jordan Samuels-Thomas. Eric Neely racing to the loose puck down into the Quinnipiac end. Neely in on the penalty kill. Takes it away briefly from Jordan Samuels-Thomas, but good strong stick. Here comes Samuels-Thomas the other way with it now. 52 seconds left to go on the power play opportunity for the Bobcats. St. Denis, far corner for Langlois. Langlois back down for St. Denis. Tries to feed Langlois in front just below the left circle. And nothing doing as Patterson takes it away. Neely will dump it down. Hartzell out to play it. Backhands it just past Patterson. And Langlois comes the other way with it. 30 seconds to go on the advantage. Langlois makes one extra move at the blue line, and St. Denis stepped over too soon.
And this power play, contrary to the other power plays they've had tonight, they really they weren't using the points as much as they were trying to. Those first few power plays, they were trying to do more behind the net action and try and work something, overload something there in on Grant, which you want to see. The points are there for, not for a reason, I want to say, but the Bobcats defensemen have some good shots. They got to work it out deeper, higher to the point, I should say.
Not nearly the potency they had on the last power play opportunity, but still 30 seconds to go. A neutral zone face-off, won, though, by Dartmouth as Pinkston will take it back into his own end, and he'll send it down length of the ice to the far corner. Chasing back is Lindblad with good speed, forces Dahlhusen. Now up ice for St. Denis. St. Denis takes a spill in the neutral zone, leaves it off for Langlois. Langlois to Jordan Samuels-Thomas, back to Langlois, out to the point for Dahlhusen. His wrist shot on high and gloved by Grant.
And St. Denis went flying to the ice, slides offsides, has the awareness, knowing that the Bobcats are going into the zone, gets back up and does that, not painful, but that split thing that you got to do when you get back on side.
Yeah.
Great job by him to create a chance for the Bobcats in the offensive zone.
4:42 left to go in the second period. 6 seconds to go on the advantage for Quinnipiac. Right circle face-off. It'll be Arndt taking the draw against Sakura.
Now, I want to keep the surprise for the out-of-town scoreboard for a while, but I can't. Yale and BC tied at 3-3 after 2 periods.
Wow. BC, what's going on lately? Who knows? Well, they are still without Johnny Goudreau, who's out in the World Juniors. And for folks that want to tune into the gold medal game tomorrow morning, that's at 8 a.m. You can watch NHL Network for that one. I think you can also watch it live online. I sure hope we can. Because
can I say Goudreau is killing it because he had 2 goals last game and a hat trick before that?
Yeah, he's having himself a good time at the tournament. Quinnipiac up 1-0. Centering feed in front for Van Brabant. Puck still loose in the crease and finally covered up by Grant. And the puck was loose. The crowd knew it, but the officials lost sight of the puck with 4:20 to go in the second period. Quinnipiac having a good time themselves, up 1-0.
I haven't seen in the a player have been called for being in the crease in a while. But Corey Hibbler is standing on top of Grant in the crease there as Van Brabant is trying to slam that one in that big tangle up in front. Almost a second goal for the Bobcats there, running down the end of the second period.
So while the advantage, nothing came out of the advantage there, it was at the bare end of it as Tony DeStasio makes his way up into the press box. Right side where Harvey will take it. His backhander goes wide right. Zach Davies. Far side half boards. Davies gets it back. Shot on. Langlois has it. Pekka's one-timer goes screaming past Grant, and a huge drive by Pekka at the top of the left circle.
And he had Grant beat on that far side, but he just missed the post wide.
Dartmouth recovers through the neutral zone. Shearhorn. This one off the high glass, far corner it goes. Circles behind Eric Hartzell. Bly has the puck taken away from him, and Bobcats will come the other way with it. Here's Matthew Pekka, steps over the red line. Holds, now will take it past and into the Dartmouth end. Quinnipiac gets a bit of a line change. 3:28 left to go in the second period. Quinnipiac with a 1-0 lead. Kellen Jones up off the boards. Can't control. Hartzell comes way out of his net to play it. Comes out to the neutral zone. Lauren Barron will take it back now in his own end. Goes up with a backhander off the boards, and neither team looking very aggressive right now, kind of watching the puck go either way with it. But here comes Barry now for Dartmouth. He loses control of it as he steps into the slot.
In the middle of that play, Hartzell came out of his net to play the puck there with his stick. He's really impressed me with the way he's been able to stick handle and clear the puck multiple times out of his own zone, which is huge for the Bobcats defensively.
Puck softly finds its way back down to the end of the Dartmouth zone. Back out to the right point now. Dahlhusen sends it down to the near corner. Connor Jones battling down there with McNally and Keenan. Comes away to St. Denis. St. Denis off the half boards. His shot through traffic blocked down by Dartmouth's defense. Samuels Thomas comes away with it. High slot. Can't control. Loses it. And Patterson sends it to the far side for McNally. He steps over the line. McNally still holding. Leaves it off for Patterson this time. Patterson works it down low. Puck goes by McNally. Near side. And Jordan Samuels Thomas just tips it out to the neutral zone, really to nobody. And Dartmouth sends it right back down to the Quinnipiac end.
There was no one on Samuels Thomas there for a good 10 feet. If there was better communication, maybe someone yelling at him, you got time, he could have looked up and moved that puck in the neutral zone himself.
Dartmouth still controlling. They have it in the neutral zone. It's Dustin Walsh with it. He can't move around Van Brabant, though. Here's Jordan Samuels Thomas to the neutral zone. Tries to work one through, and a big hit at center ice.
He got away with another one there. A totally unnecessary hit there that none of the officials saw. He got that shot off and then put an elbow into the Dartmouth defenseman's helmet, and no call against him.
Puck back down into the Quinnipiac end. Dartmouth centering feed in front, comes back out to the point. A drive stopped by Hartzell. Rebound comes away, and we're going to get a penalty coming up here against Quinnipiac.
Hartzell.
Pinkston, left side now. His drive, stopped in front, rebound, and it's kicked away.
I think they're calling Hartzell. The ref's making a motion that somebody in the ice has to go to the box. Hartzell's, he's given a few slashes and little things here and there the entire night to the leg pads of the Dartmouth forwards, and it looked like one forward got tangled up on his stick there. And I believe they're calling Hartzell for the tripping here.
That's what it looked like. It looked like it was a call and definitely a tripping motion. I'm not sure if I saw it. It looked like the Dartmouth player just tripped. Not that he got tripped by anybody. It looked like he just kind of fell down. Might be a makeup call for the one they missed down here. Jordan Samuels Thomas, a clear elbow for sure.
And I don't want to sound like a hater with Jordan Samuels Thomas, but it's another hit that's just not necessary when the puck's not even there. And he puts an elbow into the Dartmouth defenseman's face mask and gets away again. And one of these times it won't result in him getting away with a cheap shot like that, and he'll end up going in the box and maybe pay for it.
Either way, it's going to be a penalty against the Bobcats. 1:55 to go on the advantage. 1:04 left to go in the second period. And Quinnipiac holding on to the 1-0 lead. They've had a couple of opportunities to increase that lead, and they haven't been able to do it. Right circle face-off in the Bobcats' end. Langlois to take it for the Bobcats against Bly. Drive from the point goes wide of the net. I can't quite hear the public address here at the High Point Solutions Arena, who the call was against. Ben Arndt is in the box, but I believe he was pulled off the bench, so it's got to be against Eric Hartzell. Either way, again, 43 seconds to go on the advantage. Puck played to the near corner, finds its way out, loose in the slot, and tipped away by Jeremy Langlois.
Langlois has been a very impressive forward on the penalty kill for the Bobcats all year long, dropping down low there to get that puck out of the zone.
McNally feeds Shearhorn at the blue line, and we're going to get an offsides call. 23.5 seconds to go in the second period. And still a minute 14 left to go on the tripping call.
Another note on Langlois, he's obviously having a great season points-wise. And he's always impressed me because he's not one of those players that has that great size or unbelievable hands or whatever. He just does all the little things right. He's always in the right place at the right time, working hard for the team. And I got to take after if you're on the Bobcats roster.
16 seconds to go as Lindblad races through the neutral zone. Lindblad leaves it off. Sakura overskates the puck just a hair, and Pekka's able to clear it down ice.
Great back check there from the Bobcats. Dartmouth just missing on that pass for a good chance for Sakura.
It drives from center ice, goes wide of Hartzell, and the horn sounds. That'll do it for the second period of action. So when play resumes for the third period, Dartmouth will have 50 seconds on the advantage and a chance to tie it up in the early goings of the third period. Quinnipiac 1, Dartmouth nothing. I'm Brian Farrell, alongside me Neil Ravin. We're going to take a commercial break on the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network. We'll be back right after this.
You're listening to the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network. Check us out at theqbsn.com for game recaps, previews, feature articles, and so much more. Your internet home for all things Quinnipiac athletics, theqbsn.com.
Have you been waiting for a campus magazine just for Quinnipiac ladies? It is here. Her Campus is an online women's publication with over 100 university branches. Keep up with the latest news, campus celebrities, and helpful blogs just for you at www.hercampus.com/Quinnipiac. Again, it is www.hercampus.com/Quinnipiac.
Carano's Barbershop is Hamden's newest and most unique barbershop. It's a combination of both class and classic, with an old-school feel, but a 21st-century appeal. With reasonable prices, come on down for your next haircut. Located at 2460 Dixwell Avenue, right next to Tommy's Tanning. Make sure to like them on Facebook. Carano's Barbershop, where what's old is what's new.
You're listening to the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network, the official flagship station for volleyball, field hockey, rugby, and men's and women's soccer.
Ray and Mike's Deli, the deli destination for Quinnipiac athletics. Come and try the new Quickwich, named for Hamden's own Jonathan Quick. Also the fan favorites, the irresistible Mac Daddy and Steak and Cheese. Come in before or after the game, located at 3030 Whitney Ave. Cue cards are accepted.
From the outside, the TD Bank Sports Center screams excitement. Inside, it's even louder. It's another season of hard-hitting Quinnipiac ice hockey and red-hot basketball, side by side in one of college sports' most amazing venues for fans. Check the schedule and get your tickets at Quinnipiac Bobcats.
And welcome back to the High Point Solutions Arena, everybody. I'm Brian Farrell. Joined with me as a special guest, a Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network alumni, now working for the Waterbury Republican American. And
as American as it gets, Brian.
It certainly is. Quinnipiac with the 1-0 lead, Kyle, as we just about under 15 minutes to go before we start up the third period of action. And as you return back to Quinnipiac University, what did you see through those first couple of periods?
Second period was interesting. I thought the first, Quinnipiac clearly won that period. I mean, obviously not only 1-0 on the scoreboard, but had the quality chances in that period. Dartmouth really only had about 2 good looks on net, but definitely evened out in the second. Dartmouth was able to get a little bit more going, did a great job on the penalty kill. I mean, Quinnipiac's power play, it has not been all good all season. It's been about 13%. They're pretty low in the nation in those standings compared to the penalty kill, which is one of the best. I mean, you've got 2 of the best penalty killing teams in the country right here, and they are certainly showing that so far this evening. I still think Quinnipiac's got some good chances overall. I mean, I'd like to see a couple more centering. It feels like the slot's been open.
It sure has been. There's been some chances where I've sent a center in front, but nothing coming after you say it.
Yeah, exactly. It was a little bit frustrating to watch if you're a Quinnipiac fan. I like what you said towards the end of that second period. I'm listening down here in press row, and you said it didn't look like the teams were being very aggressive towards the end of that second period. And I agree with you. I didn't see a ton of aggression from either team. I mean, it looks like there's some things being left on the ice right now by these two teams. That's what I've taken out of the first two periods.
And it's strange. I mean, this is not the first games after the holiday break. I mean, Quinnipiac last week with a pair of games against Nebraska Omaha, and then Dartmouth in the Lead Yard Classic playing UMass Amherst and University of New Hampshire. So it's not like this is a rusty game for either one of these squads. But it sort of looked like it in that second period.
Yeah, it just, like you said, I mean, the lack of aggression, just the sort of sloppy puck handling at times. I mean, you see some pucks just sliding off sticks. You see passes not hitting their marks where you'd like to see them. I mean, you'd like to see some quality shots from the point being taken here by a couple of teams, because give Dartmouth credit. Whenever the puck gets down on the doorstep, I mean, their defense is crowding in, really just helping Grant clear just about everything there's been in there. I mean, the one goal that Quinnipiac has gotten, it could be more than that, but you look at that Dartmouth defense, and they're really chipping in really well. I mean, these goalies, you can't complain with the way that they've been playing. I thought both of them have been fantastic so far. But again, that aggression, I feel like, if you get some of those passes up high in the zone, you could look for a one-timer, but those passes, again, they're not on the mark, and it's tough. You certainly don't want to waste a shot if it's not where it's got to be.
And they'll have to kill 50 seconds of the power play, of the Dartmouth power play as we enter in the third period of action. But before we talk too much more about the Quinnipiac University Bobcats, let's update our loyal listeners that have always tuned in with the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network, what you have been up to since graduation.
Well, basically entails, my average day now is waking up, kind of bum around, watch People Score at 12 o'clock sharp. Sometimes, if I miss it, there's another channel that starts it again at 1 so I can overlap. That's been some of the excitement. But in all honesty, over the summer, I worked down with NBC covering volleyball at the Olympics. I was based down here in Stamford, Connecticut. And throughout this fall, I was covering high school sports for the old Waterbury Republican American. Got a couple newspaper jobs. And I spent about a month campaigning for them to allow me to come down here, cover the best college hockey team in the country. And I finally got them to relent, and I'm here all weekend.
Yeah, so for some of the listeners, what can they expect out of the piece of work that you're putting together out of this weekend series?
Well, our paper is located in Waterbury, which is about a half hour, probably not even that here from Hampton. And really the New Haven Register is the only one that provides some sort of consistent, outside coverage of Quinnipiac hockey. And you have the fifth-ranked team in the country who's got the longest unbeaten streak in the country and really overall just one of the best squads. And I don't think really people know a lot about them. I mean, part of it comes from that there's just not as many hockey fans as others. But then again, I mean, people just don't pay attention to really any other university other than UConn in the state. So, trying to open some eyes, I don't think if you go up to a lot of people and say, hey, you've got one of the best college hockey teams in the country 20 minutes away from you, why don't you go watch? I don't think a lot of people know what they can get here. We've got more than 3,000 here tonight. So the people down in this neck of the woods are certainly getting the memo. But, just doing my part as the alum.
Well, when people punch their ticket at the gate, we'll ask for a zip code. And if they're in the Waterbury area, we'll send you a couple of bucks, I suppose.
I would like, a couple cents. Maybe I can get Jack McDonald, have a little sweet talk with my old man, and see if we can get a couple pennies into my fund, and I'll throw them back into the school. I was just talking to Matt Eisenberg down on Press Row, and I'm looking to purchase some HD video boards here to place in the giant Daktronics Tron that we have here.
Jack McDonald has said that that's one of the things on the docket that they're thinking about for the Women's Frozen Four next year. It's going to be hosted.
I was just thinking about that. I'm going to be excited to walk in here next March and see what we can see.
Be a great atmosphere, and who knows if Quinnipiac women's team is playing as well as they are right now. You never know that they might even show up next year. Kyle, thank you very much for joining us here in the second period. You're going to be around tomorrow at 2 against Harvard. So
I'll be here for all 4 games at the bank tomorrow. Lots of action.
We're going to see if we can get Pete Rossi to get you on the air tomorrow as well. That way we can get a whole weekend of Kyle Brennan. We're going to take a quick commercial break on the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network. We'll come back. Neil Raffin will be back with us finally and he will join us with out-of-town scores, and we'll go over what he saw in the second period of action. Again, Quinnipiac 1, Dartmouth nothing. You're listening to the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network.
Hey Bobcat fans, follow us on Twitter and Facebook for daily updates, reminders, and more from the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network, the online home for your favorite Quinnipiac sports.
Saturday night is hockey night here on the Qbsn.com. Tune in at the conclusion of every Saturday men's or women's hockey broadcast for Hockey Night in Hamden. Join Qbsn's finest hockey broadcasters, writers, and analysts as they break down the weekend that was Quinnipiac ice hockey. Discussions, debate, arguments, and the occasional 5 for fisticuffs, all in a 1-hour program live at theqbsn.com. Want something debated during the program? Well, email us at hockeynightinhamden@gmail.com or tweet at HamdenHKY When overtime just isn't enough, we've got your extra hockey. So join us at theqbsn.com Saturdays following the last hockey broadcast for Hockey Night in Hamden, your exclusive Quinnipiac ice hockey talk show. And welcome back to the High Point Solutions Arena. I'm Brian Farrell alongside me, Neil Ravin, Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network. Quinnipiac 1, Dartmouth nothing at the end of 2 periods, or about 7 minutes away from the start of the third period. And Neil, why don't you take us around and check out some of the other scores around the league?
And I kind of ruined the surprise for some Bobcats fans in the middle of that second period. But I keep hitting refresh to see what happens in this BC-Yale game, currently tied at 3. Third period just got underway. Crazy thing to note about in this game. Ready for this? Yale has put 35 shots on net, as opposed to BC's 13.
Really?
So I went up to Northeastern yesterday for my internship, Hockey East internship, and I was talking with the Northeastern SID for a while, and he said that, after seeing BC so many times a year, every now and then in the season, they have 1 week or 2 weeks where they go through a week where they don't know what they're doing. He said in the past years, though, they've obviously recovered nicely, and poured it on, won the Bean Pot, then won the Hockey East, then won the national title. Not to say that Yale is no slouch of a team this year.
No, certainly not.
I think that it just shows the depth of the ECAC, though, because Yale, I think, is the 5th team that's ranked right now at number 17 in the nation in the current poll. There's 5 ECAC teams ranked. I know of the 5, they're like, you can say the lowest, but they're number 17. I know that, and they're putting up one great fight at BC tonight. So I will have my eye on that game for the rest.
Don't be afraid to keep us up to date as the scores come in through the period.
I might yell them out mid-play. Looking at other scores from the ECAC, St. Lawrence leads RIT 3-2. Princeton leads at home against Harvard 2-1. Like I just said, Yale and BC tied at 3. Clarkson still leads against UMass Lowell 1-0. Colgate is up 4-1 on Sacred Heart. And other action, RPI and BU are currently tied at 1. And Lake Superior State up on Union 2-1. So a few scores that kind of have me scratching my head a little bit. Lake Superior, I don't know how good of a squad they have up there, but
they used to be the team in the early 90s. I mean, that was the team, especially 92, 93, 93, 94. Those big seasons for Lake Superior State. But of late, not the powerhouse that Union has been.
I'm not sure how much of a hostile environment that is up there, but Union in the battle for winning themselves up there, down 2-1 right now. So, but we touched on this, Rob and I did last week in the broadcast. The way this hockey season has gone across the nation, you have to bring it every single night, regardless of who you're playing. And I'll tell you one thing, Rand Pecknold will shake his head yes at that statement, because this Bobcats team, while they have beat Cornell, they've beat the Unions, they're leading against Dartmouth right now, they have losses to Robert Morris and American International.
But as Mark Schwartz pointed out to me yesterday, which I did not notice, Robert Morris making their way up the ranks over the past few weeks. I think they're 11 on the RPI, and I'm not sure where they've landed in the pairwise rankings of late, but they're having themselves a pretty good season this year. And it really did sneak up on me, because I've had that Robert Morris loss as a bad loss throughout the year.
And you make a good point there. Maybe that loss turned into not so bad of a loss, and maybe on the same note, that Maine win, don't get ahead of ourselves right now, turns into a great Maine win. The big thing for Robert Morris that I've noticed in all of the recaps and stats that I keep reading is their goaltending. Levine.
Yeah, Eric Levine, yep.
Levine is the one that has been out of his mind, similar to Hartzell. He's given up some more goals, but the reason is they average giving up something over like 40 shots a game at Robert Morris. So if you have 40 shots coming up against you, I'm okay with 2 or 3 finding the back of the net if the team wins. I know there was one game in particular this past weekend. Levine went and made 50 saves in a 1-0 win for Robert Morris against Miami. So in a year with no NHL, college hockey is really filling the void nicely. Maybe until January 19th.
Maybe. We're still waiting on the word from the negotiations. But on a night like this, where you've got a nice close game between Quinnipiac and Dartmouth, and you've got some wild scores across the nation, who really needs it? It's just Monday through Thursday that a lot of people will miss hockey.
And as I just updated the scoreboard, quick note also, one more score coming in. RPI just took the lead on BU. So BU in a battle, a dogfight themselves with an RPI team that's coming up here next weekend.
No pun intended on dogfight, I assume.
Didn't even mean that one, but now I do.
BU getting absolutely thrashed last weekend by Denver, and they could have had a lot more goals. And they got shut out, but they got shut out 6-0. But Okanora with an amazing effort by Denver.
And that's a Denver team that they started off the year 10-1, went through some struggles themselves. It's a great program out there they have, able to knock off a great BU team and right the ship, and now they have another big matchup with Cornell tonight.
We are going to take the shortest commercial break in the history of the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network. We'll be back with the puck drop of the third period between Quinnipiac and Dartmouth once again. You're listening to the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network.
Hey, Quinnipiac Bobcat fans. This is Billy Mecca from the Bobcat Sports Network. Please join us this season at the TD Bank Sports Center for some excellent men's and women's basketball and ice hockey games. The TD Bank Sports Center is the best facility in college athletics as it features family-friendly seating, prices, dates, and times. Please call area code 203-582-3905 or visit QuinnipiacBobcats.com to order your tickets now. Go Bobcats. Peace.
Qbsn, the flagship station for Bobcats soccer. Tune in live throughout the season as the Bobcats push for the Northeast Conference title.
And welcome back to the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network. I'm Brian Farrell alongside me, Neil Ravin. Quinnipiac 1, Dartmouth nothing as we head into the third period of action. And Neil, what do you got for some keys for this third period for both squads?
It hasn't been a pretty game per se so far. There's been a number of scoring chances. Dartmouth hasn't looked as great as they did last week. They knocked off the number 2 team in the nation, University of New Hampshire. For Dartmouth, try and come out with a little bit more life this period by getting the puck in deep, getting some pressure on the Quinnipiac defenseman, and try and get an ugly one. This really is only a 1-goal game, and that's because Quinnipiac, their key, they had 2 chances that last period to really put the game out of reach. Pekka with the best one, and he had that shot that just went wide of the net. So for Quinnipiac, you're going to keep getting your chances. If you can find a way to just bury this game, you got a great win against a top 10 team.
And a good sight to see. I look down at Michael Gardig, who's such a high prospect coming into the season for Quinnipiac. And a lot of people thought, while it is Eric Hartzell's job, there would definitely be a possibility that Gardig would be able to play a little bit here and there and be successful. And to look down on the bench, and he's smiling away down there, knowing, maybe I'm not getting the time out there, but when you're unbeaten in 12, I suppose he really cares.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I'm sure, I can't get into his head, know what he's thinking, but he knows it's Hartzell's team. His time will come being a freshman.
Certainly. Face-off won by the Bobcats. They'll dump it down in the Dartmouth end. 40 seconds to go on the advantage for Dartmouth Big Green. Lindblad takes it over to center ice line. Dumps it into the far corner. Federico there to chase. Curry backhands it off the glass. Out to the right point. Simpson keeps it in. Works it down low again. Lindblad has it knocked off of his stick by Federico. Able to get it to Secura. Secura to Lindblad. That drive from the point by Simpson. Rebound in front. Backhand try is stopped by Eric Hartzell.
Quick note I got to make here. I don't give many shout-outs, but with it being winter break, it's not obviously easy for fans to come up from driving from home, a long trip or whatever. But I've had a number of fans tweeting at me about they've been tuning in the past couple of weekends. So shout outs to Kenny and Steve for tuning in. Thank you very much for listening.
Simpson, left side, one-timer off the stick of Bullock, and it's stopped by Hartzell. Cleared out to the neutral zone where Simpson will take it back. And the final seconds will tick away on the tripping call against Eric Hartzell. Ben Arndt serving the penalty out of the box, 5-on-5. And we're back to normal hockey with 19 minutes to go in the third period. Quinnipiac 1, Dartmouth nothing. St. Denis with the only goal of the game so far. And Shearhorn gets called for the offsides as he just a bit outside the blue line.
I thought Dartmouth would have come out with a little bit more life there, knowing that, you know what, we're only down by 1 goal in a game that we haven't played that well in so far tonight. We're on the power play, try and set something up, get one early, get right back into this game. Nothing doing, though. Still a lot of time left, though, for the Big Green.
Face off in the neutral zone, right in front of the Bobcats bench, dumped down by Dartmouth. Far corner, Shearhorn will chase after it. Alex Barron gets there first. Gives it away now. Samuels Thomas. Far side for Ben Arndt. Ben Arndt steps over the line. Leaves it off for Van Brabant. Shot on and a glove save by Grant. Grant picked it out of midair and made the save of the game so far.
That was one heck of a save from the freshman. And it's solidified in my head now why he's been splitting time with Cab Morris, because that was one save that kept this a 1-goal game. And if that one finds the back of the net, Dartmouth can very easily say, you know what, momentum's not our way tonight, and fold this one in.
Left circle draw. Won by Quinnipiac. Circled it around to the far side where Bullock tries to take control. Van Brabant, though, gets there and bothers him enough. Barron's drive goes over the glove of Grant, off the glass. Arndt, near corner. Tries to backhand it in front. Dartmouth regains. Out to the neutral zone it goes for Bullock. Bullock in with Neely. Stopped by Hartzell, a soft wrister just outside the blue line. Alex Barron loops it around, far side. Van Brabant will take it back. Van Brabant with a solid offensive opportunity, and it was stifled by Grant on a beautiful glove stop. Didn't have to flash the glove too much, had it really in the right place, and just picked it out of midair.
No, I've been really, really impressed by this freshman. He's gone down the butterfly quickly. He's gone down the butterfly early a few times, but he's really made some big saves to keep this hockey game close.
Puck to the near side in the Bobcats' end. Kept in. Simpson's shot blocked away. Pinkston, his drive blocked as well. Neely can't control the far side, and it sneaks out to the neutral zone. 2:30 gone in the third period. 1-0. Quinnipiac still leading. Puck goes back and forth in the neutral zone where St. Denis will finally take control and backhand it into the Dartmouth end.
More live boards. That puck off the pass over to St. Denis, hits the boards, kicks up to his eye level where he has to glove it back down. These boards baffle me every week.
Lindblad off to Secura. Save made. Rebound out in front. And Hartzell able to stick out his right leg pad to make the stop.
After Grant makes arguably the biggest save of the game, Hartzell makes a pretty big one on himself there, keeping the lead for the Bobcats.
Hartzell will leave it off now behind the net for Clay Harvey. Harvey, a guy we talked about a little bit in the pregame show, hasn't shown up much so far today. Pekka steps over the line, has some space in the slot. Backhander, save made, rebound, and covered up by Grant. Couple of solid opportunities lately, Neil, for Quinnipiac.
Yeah, and that play actually wasn't initially saved by Grant. It was saved by Ferguson, who went diving across the crease and got, I think maybe his chest got a piece of that shot from Pekka, knocking it down into Grant's glove to cover up for a faceoff.
Right circle draw on the Dartmouth end. Just over 3 minutes gone in the third period. Hibbler will take the draw against Bly, and Bly wins it back to his defense. Patterson has it intercepted from him by Hibbler, and it's cleared away, though, again by Dartmouth, out to the neutral zone. Shearhorn goes cross ice behind Patterson. Quinnipiac regains, and an offsides call as Hibbler got kind of crossed up on... didn't see the linesman on that call, excuse me.
The one thing I had made note of in the intermission, I said that I expect Dartmouth to come out with some more energy this period because they only had 2 shots in the second period, and they've already had 3 to surpass that total so far this period. So definitely Coach Gaudette said something in the locker room to get some fire in his boys.
Puck free of the neutral zone, a drive from center ice by Bullock. He gets knocked at the same time. Curry ahead for Jordan Samuels-Thomas. Knocked off the high glass and into the neutral zone again, where Dartmouth will dump it down off the high glass to the near corner. It comes for Shearhorn. Shearhorn battling against Lauren Barron. Lauren Barron gets the best of it and clears it to Bowie. Bowie, cross-ice feed for Jordan Samuels-Thomas. Samuels-Thomas tries to move around his man and gets his stick way up and catches him on the neck.
There it is. You know, unnecessary for the Bobcats there. And with only a 1-goal lead, if Dartmouth's able to score on this power play, it's just such a bonehead play to do. It's an unneeded shippy, try and get that edge in this game. It wasn't even the official that was closer to Jordan Samuels-Thomas that called it. It was the one that was 3 lines away from him, 2 blue lines on the center line, gets the high sticking called against him, and Dartmouth goes back in the power play.
And it looked more like Jordan Samuels-Thomas made a move to his left, tried to pick up his stick to go around the defender to go back to his right, and as he crossed up, the stick came right up and into the neck area. It did catch, I'm not sure who it was on the Dartmouth end, but either way, even if it's not intentional or not, but like you said, I mean, it's a little too reckless to be playing with right there. We have a TV timeout right now.
When the puck isn't even near your stick, it's one of those penalties that as a coach, Pecknow can only scratch his head and say, why? It's unnecessary because the puck is already down past the defenseman. All he has to do is give him a bump and try and get some pressure on him as a forecheck. No need to have your stick even that far off the ice, Pecknow could say.
So Jordan Samuels-Thomas with his first penalty of the evening, but had a couple that could have been called. The elbow comes to mind the quickest. But either way, with 15:41 left to go in the third period, Dartmouth will have their 4th power play opportunity of the game. They are 0 for 3 thus far. Out there is Sakura, Walsh, Lindblad, Simpson, and Bullock. So Jordan Samuels-Thomas in the box, 2 minutes, high sticking. Bobcats win the draw, and Zach Curry clears it down ice. Curry, Pekka, Davies, and Tolkinen, 3 defensemen, and 1 forward out there for Quinnipiac on the penalty kill.
If Samuels-Thomas' family is listening to my broadcast right now, they're not going to like me too much. I don't mean to be
luckily, the holidays are past, so.
I don't mean to sound like a hater or anything, but he's just been so reckless with his stick in his hands tonight, grabbing a lot of the Dartmouth players.
Shot from the point goes wide and eventually cleared down by the Bobcats. 30 seconds gone in the high sticking call to Jordan Samuels-Thomas. And I think you can rest easy because I'm pretty sure I saw Jordan Samuels' father and son in the crowd today, so maybe you're all set.
Not sleep with one eye open. It's just penalties that have, when the rules changed, it became clear that you had to have 2 hands on your stick at all times, basically. And he's just not had that tonight. And he's gotten away with a number of calls already, but this one finally gets him.
Clay Harvey comes the other way with it and kills off another 30 seconds of the advantage from Dartmouth. 55 seconds to go in the advantage for the Big Green. Clear down around the board's far side of the Bobcats' end. Dahlhusen gets there first. Works it around to Clay Harvey on the near side. Harvey taps it over to Langlois, who sends a backhander out and into the neutral zone and down to the Dartmouth end. 39 seconds to go on the power play for the Big Green. Haven't been able to get anything going on this advantage, but it only takes 1 shift down. Bly leaves it off far side. Kick down in the near corner. Coming away with it is Barry. Barry leaves it off for Shearhorn. Shearhorn and Bly out to Keenan at the right point. Keenan's blast stopped down in front by Curry. Came away to the far side. Keenan slaps away at it again and cleared out to the neutral zone again by the Bobcats.
And that clear is all because of Zach Curry laying full extension on the ice. That's what your captain does. That's what your leader does, laying down to block that shot. This kill is because of that defenseman right there.
Bobcats kill it off, so Dartmouth 0 for 4 on the evening. 13:30 to go in the third period. Bobcats holding on to a 1-0 lead against the Dartmouth Big Green. St. Denis up through center ice. Dumped into the near corner. Grant out to play it, wraps it around, puts it onto the stick of Kellen Jones. Jones behind the net for St. Denis. Over to the far side corner now. St. Denis has it at the top of the right circle. Loses control. Neely tied up on the far side boards with Kellen Jones. Neely goes down. Puck comes free to the slot. It's picked up by O'Brien, and he has to skate quickly past Grant. Kellen Jones takes it away again in the near corner. He loses control, and Neely comes away with it through the neutral zone. Neely trying to go through a pair of defenders. It's worked back now. Here comes Kellen Jones the other way with it. Kellen Jones holds, fires, and it's tipped away. Simpson got a piece of it. Didn't even make it to the net, and Connor Jones was right next to him, but not enough space to get that pass off.
That was the big gasp from the crowd. Whenever you see those two flying up the ice together, the crowd usually always gets on the edge of their seat.
Here comes Jordan Samuels-Thomas. Left side half boards. Van Brabant loses control.
And he got away with another one there. He just slew-footed the defenseman. It's hard to really describe without doing it in person what a slew-foot is, as we touch up for an icing here. But it's basically when you put your skate behind the opposing player's skates, you put your arm in his chest area, and you fling him backwards over your leg. It makes me cringe as a hockey player thinking of it, regardless of what team it is. It's just a cheap play to make. And Jordan Samuels-Thomas doesn't learn from that penalty, gets away with another one there. He's been very fortunate over this past few games, especially tonight.
Left circle draw. The aforementioned Jordan Samuels-Thomas will be out there for Quinnipiac.
There are 6 green jerseys on the ice, if I can count right. There were 7 a second ago.
Yeah, Neil, good math as Lindblad steps off the ice. Dustin Walsh will take the draw against JST.
Why?
Oh,
and
excuse me.
Samuels-Thomas why does he get tossed out? They had 7 guys on the ice.
Van Brabant ends up taking the draw, and it's one back out to the neutral
8,
zone.
including the goalie. I'm confused.
Big hit behind the play. Van Brabant looking to center. Couldn't get it to Samuels-Thomas. Out to the left point for Davies. His wrist shot on. Stopped in the slot. Van Brabant has it again. Shot! Score! Van Brabant found the top left corner. Hartzell gives a fist pump down to the other end, and the Bobcats get a 2-goal lead.
He deserves the goal on that play, too. He's a player that hasn't been on the score sheet that often lately, and Bryce Van Brabant, but he's the one that made that initial hit right behind Grant's net to cause the defenseman there to get a little bit weary or nervous, turn the puck over, keep the puck in their own end. He does a great job going the high slot, and just a snipe over Grant's blocker side, I believe, is his shoulder.
So Quinnipiac gets the very important 2-goal cushion. But here comes Dartmouth coming the other way with it. Walsh leaves it down in the near corner for Lindblad. Lindblad knocked to the ground. Federico working with Dahlhusen. Dahlhusen coughs it up to the far corner, though. Lindblad back to get it again. Works it down low for Secura. Secura for Walsh, far corner. Secura for Walsh again. Well, here comes Walsh off the boards. Into the slot. It jumps off of his stick to the near corner. Van Brabant's goal puts Quinnipiac up 2-0, but Bullock's shot stopped by Hartzell. Rebound comes right out in front. Score! An on-angle shot from Secura. Looked like it may have tipped off Hartzell in front. So just like that, we're back to a 1-goal game.
And there's the life that Dartmouth needed. Not a very pretty goal given up there by Hartzell. And 2-1 hockey game, and as was mentioned last week multiple times, there's no more difficult lead to maintain in any hockey, for that say, than a 2-goal lead.
We'll have to wait to see who the goal is credited to. It came off the stick of Secura. I'm not sure if they'll give it to someone that was closer or if someone else got a tip on it in front, but either or. Quinnipiac, just a 1-goal lead again as Dartmouth rallies back under a minute after the Van Brabant goal.
And that was a chance for the momentum going in the Bobcats' favor. Maybe Dartmouth kind of eases back a little bit, folds in per se, but they don't. Battle back at a garbage goal, which gives them more momentum now. And we got a brand new hockey game here at QU.
Puck down to the Bobcats' end. Lauren Barron back to get it. Goes off the boards, down into the Dartmouth end. We'll have an icing call. 10:33 left to go in the third period. 2-1. Bobcats lead over Dartmouth. Quinnipiac looking a little deflated after giving up that goal with a quick icing.
Great job by the official there. The icing goes, whistle gets blown. St. Denis tries to be sly and sneaks over into the Bobcats bench. He skates right over to him, stands there. St. Denis won't get up, but then he finally gets up as the ref says, come on now, you're back on the ice.
Keen eyes down there. Face off one in the right circle. Rebound comes right out in front. Out to the left point. Hold by Ferguson. He fans on the shot, though. Here comes Quinnipiac coming the other way with it. Here's Curry. Steps over the line. Curry has Jordan Samuels-Thomas. Curry fans on a shot at the top of the left circle. Samuels-Thomas takes a spill in the near corner. And a whistle as the puck went up into the protective netting. Looked like it was tipped, and we'll have a face-off draw in the neutral zone.
He's just got so much stick work going when he goes up against these defensemen in the corners that it makes me scratch my head up here because it looks like every time he goes down there, he could get called for a penalty if he's not careful. No, it's nothing against these refs for not making those calls or anything like that.
No.
But you can't, with the way the rules are, I learned when I was playing hockey, you put two hands on their stick, you put your stick on the ice, and you leave it there. He has his stick up in the midsection of the defense in the corner, flails around a little bit, both of them go down, and then the crowd wants a call against Dartmouth as there's a little bit of a tangle up. There's no way Dartmouth should get called for a penalty there, and rightfully so they didn't.
Hartzell and Gardig having a little chat on the bench right now as Hartzell wipes off some of the extra sweat after giving up his first goal of the evening. Dartmouth unofficially 18 shots on net. Quinnipiac unofficially 23. Quinnipiac with the 2-1 lead with 10:13 left to go in the third period. Trying to extend the unbeaten streak to 13 on the season. It's the nation's best already. I believe it ties the national best over the year. Niagara, I believe, had a 12-game unbeaten streak earlier this season off the absolutely stellar play from Carson Chuback.
Quick note of scores out of town. Yale and BC still tied at 3. UMass Lowell up on Clarkson 2-1. RPI and BU are now tied at 2s. And for our main fans, it's 1-1 still at the Cumberland County Civic Center.
How much time do we have left in that Yale game?
End of the third period, we're going to overtime.
All righty then. A little extra hockey. Here comes Hibbler. Hibbler's quick shot. Blocked away. In here corner it comes. Van Brabant working down low with Hibbler. Hibbler takes two guys to the ground. Van Brabant gets up. Backhander, glove stop by Grant.
And a great play there from Ben Arndt. Both, that's that 2-1 forecheck that we keep talking about with Van Brabant and Hibbler behind the net. Arndt's in the high slot. As soon as the Bobcats get the puck back there, I think it was Van Brabant came over to this side, near side, backhands one on net, while Arndt's crashing hard to try and get a rebound, but gloved down nicely by Grant.
Left circle face-off in the Dartmouth end. Tied up on the near side half boards. Clay Harvey there for Quinnipiac. Coming away with it, though, is Walsh for Dartmouth. Walsh leaves it off for Lindblad. And Walsh stepped in just a skate ahead, not even, half a skate ahead, and an offsides call.
And Dartmouth, you can see, has a little bit more of an edge with their skates right now after getting that not really pretty goal, but a garbage-type goal gives them that little momentum that they're back in this hockey game.
Face-off won by Dartmouth. Here comes Lindblad. Splits the defenders. Shot on. Save made by Hartzell. Lindblad able to get the shot off as he got laid out in front.
It's an unbelievable individual effort from him to get that play off.
Here comes Langlois the other way. He can't control. Leaves it out for Pekka, the near side half boards. Now Bullock coming the other way for Dartmouth. Bullock, his wrister on net, is blocked away by Davies. Lindblad to the near corner now. Working away from Davies, out to the point for Bullock. Bullock, cross-ice feed for Keenan. Keenan, wrist shot on, kicked away by Hartzell, and grabbing the rebound is St. Denis. St. Denis holds back smartly. Up the head for Langlois now. Langlois for Pekka. Pekka with a little bit of space. His wrist shot blocked away. And both teams battle for it at the Dartmouth blue line. Langlois picks up the loose puck and drives it in as Grant comes out to play it on the far side. Far corner, Bullock backhands it to Neely. Neely wheels it around to the near side, still in the Dartmouth end. Quinnipiac forechecking, trying to apply more pressure. Kellen Jones to Connor Jones. His shot is sticked away by Grant. Near corner, Connor Jones gets knocked down. Kellen Jones has it, looking for a centering feed. Still holding is Kellen Jones. Works it out to the right point. Back to the far side half boards. Alex Barron with a little bit of space, and it looked like he panicked when he saw he had too much, Neil.
Yep, definitely. And a quick note on the scoring change. The Dartmouth goal goes to Lindblad with assists from Sekura and Walls via Twitter.
That's where the social media helps.
That's where it does help because it's so quick and updated so fast.
Puck comes to the near side point. Out to the neutral zone it comes. Lovejoy puts a soft wrister on net as Hartzell will glove it and stick it away. Danny Federico off the glass, back out to the neutral zone. Lovejoy this time will send it in with a bit more authority. Bowie regains, though, right in front of his own bench. Tied up, 7:40 to go in the third period. Quinnipiac holding on to a 2-1 lead.
One quick note on Hartz, though. He's doing a great job with shots from the point. When they're coming in on him, he takes 2 steps out into the top of his crease to get a better angle in the shot, and that's really paid off for him for those shots tonight.
Puck finds its way behind the net of Eric Hartzell. He leaves it off for Federico. He has to move around the other 22 out there. Dustin Walsh takes it away now. Given right back to the Bobcats as Dahlhusen dumps it down ice, and we're going to get an icing call. Certainly didn't look like there was much hustle from Andy Simpson, but either way, well, the icing call. 7:08 to go in the third period. Quinnipiac 1, Quinnipiac 2, Dartmouth 1.
Yeah, great. The intensity's really picked up a lot more this period as opposed to the second period. Both teams kind of looked more sluggish, you could say. And a garbage goal like that just gives teams life. I think we're getting timeout here now.
I like that use of real timeout. It's Ram Pecknold just called his timeout with 7 minutes to go, roughly, in this affair.
As opposed to the 8 TV timeouts you get a game, or however many Destin does. We joked before about how in games like this, or normal hockey games, obviously, each team only gets 1 timeout. And I've seen more lately. It's hard to really keep track of it, but teams have been using them more often lately in situations like this that Pecknold does here. When you ice the puck down the other end, obviously you can't get a chance to the players that are on the ice. And if your players are weighed down a lot like these guys on the ice are right now, I can't see exactly which numbers are out there, but this gives them that extra breather that say, you know what, now we can get the puck out of this zone, then get our line changed. That's what you need.
And you don't always see him in the last 2 minutes of the game like you've seen in past years. And I mean, it's always different for each game, but I think you saw it last week with Nebraska-Omaha's Dean Blaze took an early
5
one.
minutes into the game. So it's a lot of coaches use it in the end of the game to try and set up a play. I agree with that, but I don't. In hockey, the puck bounces so quickly and so fast that your plays are not like basketball where you can actually hand it to a guy's hands. This is a great situation where I think Pecknold needs a lot of credit for this one because this could really save the Bobcats and a chance that could have gone Dartmouth's way if they had won this face-off against really wear down legs of Quinnipiac.
One of the top face-off guys for Quinnipiac, Connor Jones, will take the draw against Sakura. Still waiting for the drop. Linesman having a little bit of a conversation with Bob Gaudette. Whistle blows. Testa ready to drop it. Right circle face-off in the Quinnipiac end. It's won by the Bobcats as Tolkanen moves it up far side. Kellen Jones finds Connor Jones. Connor Jones, left wing side. Shot on. Glove save by Grant.
I think Gaudette was asking a question in regards to, after this game, I'm going to do some research so that I could do this for tomorrow, talk about this. I wonder how timeouts work when you're on television. There's TV timeouts also. If there's any restrictions. Because Gaudette was upset. I think he thought that Pecknold called the timeout too late before that pass faceoff.
Interesting. Something to take a look at. Ben Hart in the near corner in the Dartmouth end. Leaves it off for Van Brabant. Clearing it out, though, on the far side is Keenan. Kept in by Tolkanen at the right point. Jordan Samuels-Thomas tied up far corner with Sakura and Bullock. Samuels-Thomas using his big body to gain enough position, but it was tipped away at the blue line. Here comes Dartmouth the other way with it. Walsh leaves it off for Lindblad. Lindblad near corner. Lindblad tries to make a move to the net. He gets knocked over, and the net comes sprawling off the moorings and lands on top of Eric Hartzell. And we'll get a whistle.
Before. I think that play has stopped because the only time I ever seen the net turned over like that is when you're in practice and you got both nets facing each other. You have like in practice we did games like that where you try and score on the backside of the net, but just a strange play. You can see both moorings of the net are out of the ice also, and his water bottle went flying as well.
Yeah, if it was on top of the net, it's not there anymore. Moorings, you're putting it back in again. Ram Pecknold not happy about something down there. And a lot of yelling, a lot of confrontation.
A few weeks ago, it was last week, Langlois got called for roughing when he collided with the UNO goalie. A situation there where Lindblad goes hard into Hartzell, but because of the net and Tolkanen on his hip, Tolkanen is the one getting the call. Maybe it's a makeup call for all these ones that they haven't got against Samuels-Thomas. I'm not really sure. But as we just noted, Brian, timeouts not being taken at the end of the game, being taken now. Bob Gaudette takes one now to try and get his team ready for this power play.
And good heads up. That would be why Rand Pecknold was yelling, Tokinen in the box for 2 minutes.
And Gaudette's got a smile on his face now because he got the timeout that he wants.
Two legendary coaches in the ECAC, guys that have been around for quite some time. And looks like Rand Pecknold's still having a conversation down there using Gaudette's timeout to try to piece together what just happened out there. So 30 seconds to go on the timeout for Dartmouth. The faceoff will be at the right circle in the Quinnipiac end when we start things up again. 2-1, Quinnipiac leads against Dartmouth, and we're getting into the late goings of this game, Neil. 6:25, I believe, is left on the clock. They've got it covered up right now at the timeout time.
This PK is a huge, huge momentum swing. If the Bobcats are able to kill this off, it gives them maybe that extra energy they need to hold off Dartmouth for the rest of the game. If Dartmouth obviously scores, we got a tie hockey game with 6:25 left. And for as sluggish as this game was, we got some excitement in the building.
We sure do. I said this third period is going to be a barn burner when we were off air. It hasn't necessarily been barn burning, but you never know what the next 6 minutes and 25 seconds have in store for us. Right circle draw. Sakura takes it against Pekka. Both teams battle forward in the right circle. Coming away with it is Walsh on the near corner. He's driven to the boards by Lauren Barron. Coming away with it is Zach Curry over on the far side. Curry races to the puck, swipes it down ice. And Dartmouth will have to regain again. So 1:45 to go in the advantage for Dartmouth. 6:07 to go in the third period. Quinnipiac holding on to a 2-1 lead.
After being hurt last week, and Curry looks very solid, especially on the penalty kill tonight for the Bobcats.
Dumped down again. Lauren Barron gets control of it. Missed pass, though. Simpson has it. A drive from Bullock, sticked away by Hartzell into the far corner. Pekka moves around his man. Pekka out to the neutral zone for Harvey. Here comes Harvey and Pekka the other way. Harvey's blast goes wide left off the high glass.
A bad miscommunication there between Lauren Barron and I believe it was Pekka. If Barron was trying to get that one out of the zone, he shouldn't have backhanded it straight up the middle because that one never had a chance.
And like you talked about those lively boards, Dahlhusen's drive gets tipped off the boards, goes over the head of Simpson at the right point, and down ice again. 55 seconds to go on the advantage for Dartmouth. 5:18 to go in the third. 2-1, Quinnipiac leads. Lifted into the air on the far side. Dahlhusen gets there first. Davies now has it. Davies works around his man, and he'll skate it out. Quinnipiac, if they hurry, could have a 3-on-2. Davies elects to just tap it down ice softly. Kellen Jones and Jeremy Langlois were in on the rush as well. Looked like they had a bit more energy than Davies. It's going to go off for a line change now. Blythe through the neutral zone for Dartmouth. Blythe sends that dump in right into Kellen Jones, and we'll get an offsides call as McNally touches it up. 25 seconds to go on the advantage for the Big Green and a neutral zone face-off draw in front of the Bobcats bench.
When I was younger, I tried umpiring baseball once. I've never tried hockey before. I can only imagine how hard it is. The official, last name McNulty, is in the middle of the scrum there at the blue line. Two Bobcats jerseys and 3 Dartmouth ones. He's standing right in the middle with his hands up trying to get out of the play there.
Matt McNulty had a heavy job right there.
He's where he's supposed to be on the blue line,
Exactly.
trying to get there for an offsides, but
Exactly.
It must be a tough job being right in the middle of these big bodies.
10 seconds to go on the penalty against Tokinen as Federico lifts it up and down ice. That'll do it. Dartmouth gets nothing set up on the advantage. 4:24 left to go in the third period. Quinnipiac with a 2-1 lead. Bly up through the neutral zone. Steps over center ice. Lightly taps it down. Davies looking up ice. Tries to find Pekka. The pass was behind him. He'll dump it in, though. Lovejoy moves around to the far side. Making a couple of moves through the neutral zone was Patterson as he dumps it down in the near corner. Patterson chases his own dump in against Curry. Curry ties it up behind the net. 3:54 left to go in the third period. Ahead now for Travis St. Dennis. Taken back by Dartmouth. Ferguson will dump it in. Near side, Hibbler trying to clear it out to the neutral zone again. O'Brien has it tied up along with Patterson. Moves it over the far side for Ferguson. His shot on. Rebound comes out. Save made by Hartzell. Rebound score! Dartmouth ties it up with 3:34 left to go in the third period.
And there's your momentum swing. And there are a lot of Dartmouth fans here, actually, as I just noticed a big eruption from a number of the fans here clapping now on their feet as Dartmouth ties this game. A bad job there by the Bobcats defenseman not clearing out the forwards. I didn't see who hammered that one in, but there were a few Bobcats defensemen's backs to that forward as it went through Hartzell's 5-hole. He made the initial save sprawling out But that's where he came out just a little bit too far. He was a good 2 feet out of his crease, and Dartmouth ties it up.
We're locked up now. 2-2, 3:29 left to go in the third period, and Quinnipiac's unbeaten streak getting a little bit risky here in the final goings of the third period. Tied up, Dartmouth and Quinnipiac. Far corner, Dahlhusen puts his man into the boards. Jordan Samuels-Thomas to the neutral zone now. Samuels-Thomas steps over the blue line. Thomas tries to put it on his forehand, still working with it. His shot on, and it's loose in front. Cleared away by Dartmouth. Lindblad has it back. Lindblad out to Sakura in the neutral zone. Sakura will dump it in off the boards, and it'll cycle back behind the net. Van Brabant tries to skate it out. Tied up on the boards by Patterson. Patterson will dump it to the far end. Dahlhusen gets there first. Dahlhusen ahead for Jeremy Langlois. Langlois to Harvey now. Harvey, left side to the near corner, loses control. Bullock takes it back ahead for O'Brien. O'Brien now far side for Patterson. Patterson high off the glass, dumped to the near corner. It comes now. O'Brien driven to the boards. 2:23 left to go in the third. Bullock left side now for Keenan. Keenan waits, fires one intentionally wide. Patterson gets it back. Taken away, though, by Harvey. Harvey driven to the boards by Neely, and Patterson gets it again. Patterson goes down. Tolkinen has him tied up in the near corner. We're going to get a whistle. So 2:07 left to go in the third period. We're tied at 2.
Keenan tried to do that play that the Bobcats have been doing, where they bank it off the back boards, have it kick out to the far side. Now Dartmouth trying to use the boards to their advantage in this hockey game. And maybe not a barn burner, Brian, as Boomer walks by us up here in the press box. Boomer, what are you doing up here? And but 2 minutes to go in this game, and great action now.
Andy Simpson, his shot goes wide right, and since that goal, it's been all Dartmouth.
It started with the garbage goal. That got them that life that they needed to get back into this game.
Big hit by Kellen Jones at the right point. Curry behind his own net. 1:49 left to go in regulation. Kellen Jones up to the neutral zone. Loses control, gets it back. Connor Jones hops by his defenseman, but can't control it in the near side corner. Connor Jones works it back to Kellen Jones, goes behind him. Travis St. Dennis runs into the board. St. Dennis looking in front. His shot stopped by Grant. Rebound comes out to the far side now. Right point, Connor Jones overskates the puck, but able to keep it in. Here's Barron with plenty of time and space. His drive goes off a defender on the left side. Bobcats get it back. Tolkinen holds, fires. That one gets tipped high and off the glass. The near corner it comes. Simpson just roofs it up and out to the neutral zone. Bly will chase after it. Tolkinen will get there. 1:08 to go in the third period. Quinnipiac and Dartmouth tied at 2. 1:04 now remaining as Dartmouth will take it out of their own end. Keenan ahead, taken away by Jordan Samuels-Thomas. Gets it back as Van Brabant. His wrist shot on, save made, rebound, still loose in the right circle.
Wow. Charles Grant has been phenomenal tonight for Dartmouth.
Rebound comes out in front. Samuels-Thomas stopped, save made again. Art has the opportunity near side. Samuels-Thomas gets it back. A wrist shot, stop made, and covering it up is, covering it up.
I can't even see his number.
In front of his Bullock,
who had no stick.
He grabbed the puck with his hand. He grasped it and went down to the ground, and a couple of major opportunities there by the Bobcats.
And we got an eruption from the Bobcats fans who were looking for a delay of game call against Bullock there for covering that one up. Maybe the puck was still loose a little bit. He was laying down on his side, but right before that, Charles Grant came to play. Those are some big-time saves in this hockey game.
Both teams without timeouts. Left circle draw on the Dartmouth end, won by the Bobcats. Harvey has it in the near corner. 35 seconds to go in regulation. Teams tied at 2. Harvey, near side half boards, taken away by Dartmouth. Lindblad coming the other way with it. 2 defenders in front of him. Lindblad steps over the blue line. His shot on net, sticked away by Hartzell. Near corner it comes. Harvey battling there. 19 seconds to go in regulation. Knocked out of midair by Davies, and here comes Pekka the other way. Tries to leave it back for Langlois. It goes under his stick and back into the Quinnipiac end. 10 seconds remaining. One last rush for Quinnipiac if they've got it in them. Puck comes down to the near side corner. Here comes Walsh off the boards, looking for Neely. Davies has it, and that'll do it for the third period and regulation. We're going to be heading into overtime. We've got 2 minutes, so we might as well just stay right here. There's plenty to talk about with what just happened in that wild.
I'm a little bit lost there because as soon as Dartmouth ties the game up, it's like life is shot into Dartmouth first, as they get a flurry of chances, and then that life changes hands into the Bobcats, and they get arguably the best chances of the game with just under a minute to go. And Charles Grant goes side to side very nicely in net, makes a couple big saves on, I think, all three players of that line got a chance there, and Van Braven, Art, and Tamas Thomas. And then a play that I think you have to immediately forget about now, and when Bullock covers that puck up with a glove, but the entire Bobcats faithful, you could say here, wanted the call against him. But, that's one of those where, as an official, I'm letting them play because that's a game-changing call that you really can't make.
Yeah, it's got to be really obvious. And while you may have seen a puck be grasped by the glove, he dropped down to the ground, so you don't know what's happening after that. But like you said, the big momentum shift, it seemed like for Quinnipiac, came after that big Kellen Jones hit at the right point. Everything seemed to just switch the other way in the final minute and a half. So we're heading into some extra time, overtime. And what do you got for the Yale score, Neil?
They tied 3-3.
Tied with 3-3.
No one could break the tie in overtime. And since we're both from Maine, I have to say it. Maine Black Bears with a 3-game winning streak. They knock off Mercyhurst 2-1 at the Cumberland County Civic Center. We'll save the rest of the out-of-town scoreboards for in the post-game.
We've got too much else going on right here. 16 seconds before we drop the puck for overtime. And both teams switch ends. Hartz will be down to our left, and Grant will be down to our right. 5 minutes of extra time. First team to score wins it all. If no one scores in this last final 5 minutes, it'll end as a tie. But one goal by Dartmouth, and the unbeaten streak is out the window for Quinnipiac.
As the great John Bouchergrass would say, Brian, college hockey, baby.
Yeah,
college hockey.
I believe that's one of his. It's one of his hashtags he's got out there. CAWLIDGE, I believe
it trends. It's about every Friday, Saturday. You could say.
Okay. Center ice draw won by Dartmouth. Keenan will dump it in. Hart's allowed to play it behind his net. Davies will go get it for Quinnipiac. Davies off the glass, backhander. Kellen Jones off the boards, looking for Connor Jones. Near corner. Connor Jones holding in the near side now. In the Dartmouth end. Has it taken away from him, though, by the defense for Dartmouth. Looped around to the left point for Davies. Davies tries to go cross ice with Tolkien, and it goes off Kellen Jones, though. Dumped back into the Dartmouth end, and Keenan will go up ice. Davies, though, takes it away. Davies dumps it down into the Dartmouth end. Far corner. 4:20 to go in overtime. Harvey has it now. Harvey, backhand try in front. Kellen Jones couldn't get a shot off. Out to the point where Curry has it. Curry's wrist shot is blocked down by Bullock. Walsh coming the other way, looking a little bit gassed after that shift. Kellen Jones still out there as well from the start of overtime. Here comes Jeremy Langlois trying to move around his defender. It was a little too far ahead for him.
Kellen Jones had a huge chance there for the Bobcats. He worked the puck over to his backhand and had a little bit of a space over the glove of Grant, but he couldn't get a shot off, and Dartmouth was able to clear the zone.
Both teams battling in the neutral zone. Coming away with it is Keenan. Keenan, his shot on net, steered away by Hartzell. He'll clear it out to the neutral zone. A pass ahead for Jeremy Langlois. Langlois couldn't get it ahead for Pekka, and Neely comes the other way with it for Dartmouth. Neely gains the line. Neely right side. Neely holding. Shot on. Rebound comes out in front of the slot, and Langlois taps it away to the far corner. Matthew Pekka drives it off the board and back down to the Dartmouth end. 3:22 left to go in overtime. Quinnipiac 2, Dartmouth 2. Number 5, the number 8 team in the country. Quinnipiac 5, Dartmouth 8.
Fantastic action so far here at overtime. Great speed at both ends. Neely had a great chance there at getting by Lauren Barron.
Pekka has the puck knocked off of his stick in the neutral zone. Cross ice for Federico. Federico left off for Van Braven. His drive goes wide right. Jordan Samuels-Thomas.
That's one of those shots that kills you when you miss the far side and it wraps all the way back out of the zone in the neutral zone. A shot lower there on the pass creates a rebound chance for you.
Van Brabant sends it back into the Quinnipiac end, and Dartmouth will send it down again, and we'll have an icing call, the first of overtime. 2:41 left to go in overtime.
At one point in this game was just like so sluggish you felt up here.
Yes.
But it has picked up, and the energy in this building has really picked up also. Not a sold-out crowd, but a great one tonight. Probably a little over 2,500 here to come out and watch this top 10 matchup.
Left circle draw in the Dartmouth end. Connor Jones to take it for Quinnipiac, and Bly wins it. to the far corner. Bly skates out of the end with it, skates out of his own end with it, and Dartmouth couldn't get a tip on it. Back-to-back icings, 2:32 left to go.
What was interesting was our near side linesman waved that one off at first. I'm not sure if you saw that because he thought that the Dartmouth player got a tip on it, but then the far linesman who was closer to the play actually called icing. We go back down in the Dartmouth end.
Left circle face-off again. It'll be Bly and Connor Jones. Bly wins it again. This time Connor Jones able to race to it in the near corner. Far corner. St. Denis wraps out again. Out to the point for Davies. Davies holding. Wrist shot on. Rebound in the slot. No one could get there for the Bobcats. Chasing it in is Davies. His shot on. High off a defender. Clears out to the left point. Tolkinen able to get a stick on it and work it back into the Dartmouth end. Here comes McNally, though, the other way. Gains the line for Dartmouth. McNally. Cross-ice feed for Walsh. Walsh, far side half boards. 2 minutes to go in overtime. Quinnipiac and Dartmouth tied at 2. Kellen Jones gets a stick on the puck as he brings it in the near corner. Working with Connor Jones down low. Both fall off of Keenan as he works at the far side for Secura. Dumps it down where Lauren Barron will take it for the Bobcats. Ahead to the neutral zone, Jordan Samuels-Thomas. 1:34 left to go in overtime. Samuels-Thomas holds, fires, score! Jordan Samuels-Thomas wins it in overtime for the Bobcats. The undefeated streak goes to 13.
Wow. For as interesting of a game as Jordan Samuels-Thomas has had and a few questionable calls that didn't go against him, he makes one heck of a play there. He brings the puck into the offensive zone, delays to get himself some space, fires a shot that was screened well by both, I believe it was his line mate. I didn't see which lineman it was. I think it was Van Brabant. And then the Dartmouth defender, and it goes over the far shoulder, the blocker side of Grant, beats him. Huge win for the Bobcats in a night where they really didn't look too great until later on.
An incredible finish in that final third period. He entered 1-0 Bobcats with the lead. They take a 2-0 lead before Dartmouth storms back to tie things up. And then in overtime with just a minute 30 to go, Jordan Samuels-Thomas, a guy we talked about a lot throughout this game and for negative reasons, shows why he had so much success against for Bowling Green last year. And he's really starting to turn it on, it looks like, on the offensive end for the Bobcats. 2 big goals last week against Nebraska Omaha. And a huge goal tonight against the Dartmouth Big Green.
Yeah, to keep this streak going. And, you know, you can't look ahead too much now, but you got to find a way to refocus after this emotional win for tomorrow night. If Quinnipiac can knock off Harvard, in terms of rankings, this team could crack the top 3, maybe.
We'll have to see what else happens around the league, I suppose.
You know, I don't know. I haven't looked too close at the pairwise numbers. I don't know how much a tie works for BC, but if this win could help propel Quinnipiac even closer to passing maybe BC in the pairwise, getting the number 1.
I believe Minnesota's number 1 in the pairwise. Have to look at that again.
Post-game.
Neil Ravin will have all of it for you. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and Neil Ravin will take you through the rest of the way in the post-game show. Once again, I'm Brian Farrell, Neil Ravin beside me. The final from Hamden, Connecticut in the High Point Solutions Arena. The unbeaten streak moves to 13, 9-0-0 in conference. Jordan Samuels-Thomas with the overtime goal for the Bobcats. Take a commercial break. We'll be back with more right after this on the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network.
This is Jack McDonald, Director of Athletics at Quinnipiac University. On behalf of all of our student-athletes, coaches, and parents, we are very grateful to the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network for broadcasting all our games all over the world to our Bobcat fans. Thank you, Qbsn.
You're listening to the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network. Check us out at theqbsn.com for game recaps, previews, feature articles, and so much more. Your internet home for all things Quinnipiac Athletics, theqbsn.com.
Have you been waiting for a campus magazine just for Quinnipiac ladies? It is here. Her Campus is an online women's publication with over 100 university branches. Keep up with the latest news, campus celebrities, and helpful blogs just for you at www.hercampus.com/Quinnipiac. Again, it is www.hercampus.com/Quinnipiac.
Carano's Barbershop is Hamden's newest and most unique barbershop. It's a combination of both class and classic, with an old school feel, but a 21st century appeal. With reasonable prices, come on down for your next haircut. Located at 2460 Dixwell Avenue, right next to Tommy's Tanning. Make sure to like them on Facebook. Carano's Barbershop, where what's old is what's new.
You're listening to the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network, the official flagship station for volleyball, field hockey, rugby, and men's and women's soccer.
Ray and Mike's Deli, the deli destination for Quinnipiac athletics. Come and try the new Quickwich, named for Hamden's own Jonathan Quick. Also the fan favorites, the irresistible Mac Daddy and Steak and Cheese. Come in before or after the game, located at 3030 Whitney Ave. Cue cards are accepted. And welcome back to the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network postgame show. Mark Schwartz taking over for Brian Farrell. What a win for the Quinnipiac Bobcats, the number 5 team in the nation. Took them until overtime, but they defeat the Dartmouth Big Green by a final score of 3-2. We'll get into all of the fun stuff that happened onto the ice with you, Neil, in just a second, but quickly we're going to have an out-of-town scoring update.
Yes, as we've been doing for the majority of the night right now, the one big game that I was watching closely was Yale at Boston College. Those two battled to a 3-3 tie tonight up at BC. RIT knocks off St. Lawrence 4-3. That was at St. Lawrence. Harvard falls to Princeton at Princeton 3-2. UMass Lowell knocks off Clarkson 2-1. Colgate upends Sacred Heart 6-2. And right now it's 2-2 RPI and BU, and Lake Superior now leads 3-1 over Union. And the big one I'm still waiting for tonight that starts any minute now, I would say, out in Denver between Cornell and Denver hasn't started yet. And as I did make note of before the end of the broadcast, the UMaine Black Bears, shout out to my best friend up there. I have to give him a shout out for that. Go on a 3-game winning streak now as they knock off Mercyhurst 2-1. And I want to begin the postgame in terms of pairwise. I'm sure you follow this very closely. This game, I'm going to hit refresh as many times as I can.
That's a real college hockey enthusiast right there.
Because Boston College was ahead of Quinnipiac going into tonight's action. BC ties Yale. Quinnipiac knocks off Dartmouth. We can actually talk about the unbeaten streak first. In your personal opinion, you have an emotional win like this, 3-2. You've won 3 straight since you came back from winter break. How do you refocus for tomorrow night?
You know what? It's tough to refocus. I think you got to enjoy this a little bit. I know any coach will tell you, we're moving on, we're thinking about Harvard immediately. But I don't think that necessarily has to be the case. I think that it would be okay for the team to take a step back and say, all right, that was a big win. Let's use that momentum and apply it to the next game. But let's not forget about how we won this game. And granted, they had a 2-0 lead in the third period. They relinquished that. They have to go into overtime. But shades of Russell Goodman in the last overtime game that the Bobcats played here at home. Jordan Samuels-Thomas sends the Bobcats faithful home happy. Enjoy this win. It's a big win. It's one of the biggest wins that the Bobcats have had so far this season. Understand how you won and apply that to the next game.
I think and you give them not like a set time, but you say, enjoy this tonight. When you show up tomorrow, I don't want to hear, if I'm Packnall, I'm saying I don't want to hear you say one word about this game, because tomorrow night now is like a trap game almost. After beating Nebraska Omaha twice, a ranked team, then you knock off Dartmouth, a ranked team. Harvard fell off this past weekend with a 5-2 loss to Northeastern, who isn't a bad team, but they're more over the bottom of Hockey East. So coming in here tomorrow night, Harvard can say, you know what, we knock off Quinnipiac, potentially. It still says number 2 in pairwise. I'm hitting refresh as fast as I can, but it still says number 2. If Harvard comes in and knocks off Quinnipiac, that is an enormous win for them to get right back on track for the NCAA tournament.
It would be an enormous win for Harvard, but that is where coaching becomes such an important part in all of this. And, Rand's had teams, and you look at Quinnipiac teams of past, and you say, well, they struggle a little bit in the second half. I mean, the season that everyone remembers was from 4 years ago, our freshman year.
Let's talk about that.
In a second. Well,
Okay.
everyone remembers that, and, they were ranked 4 at one point, and then they completely tailed off. And, whether that was completely on Rand and the coaching aspect of it, who knows? This is a different team. This is a different time. It's probably a different Rand Pecknold. But it's so important to make sure that, and I said it before, you recognize how you won tonight, but there's no trap games when you're playing a conference opponent.
I agree. Completely.
In any sport, go to football. The Patriots playing the Bills is not a trap game because it's a division opponent.
Yeah, I agree.
And you can't have that, especially when you're the number 5 team in the nation.
Yes, I agree completely, and that's what we were talking about a little bit in the broadcast. With no NHL season, I know you're a hockey fan in yourself. It's college hockey has filled the void plenty for us this year, especially going here. We've been able to watch this team have a year that really, for however long they can maintain this streak, I will remember forever, because I've had a chance to broadcast a number of games for this team, and it's just been so exciting to watch, because in situations where they really haven't filled the stands that often, and they had a pretty packed house tonight of over 2,500 people with no students here.
But that's the thing. No student. If there were students here, the students take up the 3 student sections, and then all the fans that were in those fill the other seats, and automatically there's not an open seat in the house.
I think you have a sellout. If there's students here, you have a sellout.
Well, it will be interesting to see once the students come back if they consistently sell out their games.
Well, I made note there were a number of students that tuned in tonight to listen to us. They have tuned in the past few weekends, so they have been.
And we thank you for that.
Yeah, they've been following us more lately. They've been following Quinnipiac more lately, because this team has been on some streak that you just know it's been out of this world.
You can't ignore it.
You can't ignore it. In the beginning, we said, all right, they've won 3 straight. They've won 4 straight. They're 4-1.
Yeah,
they've won 6 out of 7. At this point now, question for you: what do you think the main key is for how this streak has gone so far and making this streak happen, and how do you maintain it now as you start getting in this conference play where Harvard tomorrow night comes in, they say, all right, 9-0 in conference play, we want to be that 1.
Yep.
How do you maintain this streak?
Well, the Quinnipiac for the rest of the season is going to have a big old target on their back.
Yes, they will.
And that comes with the territory. You want to have that target on your back. You want to be the team that the teams are chasing, and Quinnipiac has certainly done that this year. I think one of the keys for this Bobcats team, and the difference from the team that we see this year to the teams that we've seen prior, the veteran leadership is certainly there. Their defense has been superb, and Hartzell overall has given this team such confidence in the way that he's been playing. I mean, you go back to the last time that a Bobcats team made this run, 4 years ago. Hartzell's a freshman. Dan Clark is in net, and Dan Clark certainly had a good first half of the season, but he wasn't supplying this superior goaltending that we've seen mostly from Hartzell. It was a tough third period from Hartzell, but I think that it's the defense, the veteran leadership, the confidence that this team has gotten from the back end, from the blue line and down in their own zone, the good goaltending and the solid defense. That confidence has given this team an opportunity to not worry as much about that and then go and try to put some goals on the board. And, luckily they were able to put 1 more than Dartmouth tonight.
Yeah, and it was in the beginning of the streak, you could say, Hartzell's won a number of games for this team. And at one point, I think his goals against average is like 1.2. And it was 1.43 going into the night. You can't look too much in the stats, but when it comes to goaltenders, if you're giving up less than 2 goals a game, you got a very good shot at winning hockey games. And it's been interesting, though, over the past 3 games, 5-4 victory against Nebraska-Omaha, 3-1 victory, and tonight's 3-2-1. He's given up, I would say, 3 goals that were kind of soft. There was the one in Nebraska-Omaha that squeaked through his pads, the first one in the second game of that series, and then the first one tonight squeaks through. He's been solid, but he's given up a few goals that have been a little bit easier, per se.
Well, it's hard to expect a goalie to stay at the level that he was playing at the beginning of the season.
This is true.
But this is something that I talked to the play-by-play guy tonight, Brian Farrell, about. I think that, and he disagreed with me on this, I think that it's promising that Quinnipiac is winning these games with Hartzell not playing that well. And with the team not playing that well, he said, oh, well, they didn't look good. They got to look better. How is that promising if they don't look good? I'm saying that they're winning these games despite not looking good, still finding a way to win. I find that as a positive.
Yeah, and they won ugly tonight.
Yeah,
because
they certainly did.
When you have a 2-goal lead and against a team and Dartmouth only had 2 shots the second period. I know that you were broadcasting at Yale, so you got here late. They had 2 shots. Dartmouth looked like one of the worst teams I've seen in the second period. They had nothing offensively. And Quinnipiac had chances to blow that game open, and they didn't. And when Dartmouth finds a way to claw back, it just shows you, what can this team do when they have everything going for them? I know Pecknell has said it multiple times before. We haven't had that clear top scorer who comes in and wins games for us this year, and maybe it turns into Jordan Samuels-Thomas?
I was about to say Jordan Samuels-Thomas didn't get off to a great start to his Bobcat career early in the season. Granted, he had the huge goal against Maine that gave the Bobcats their first win of the season, but after that, not so much. But now, a resurgence of JST, now finally feeling comfortable back in Hamden in the second half. Was that 3 goals now in 3 games?
Yeah, he had 2 in the first game against Nebraska-Omaha, including the game winner in that one, the game winner tonight. And I wasn't a hater so much, I could fill you in now. There was a few times tonight where he could have been called for holding or elbowing. He kind of had his arms flying a little bit chippy play from him. But I think that comes with the territory. It comes with it being a conference game. After Dartmouth tied this game up tonight, there was a new life in this building. There was a good Dartmouth following, and there was a good Quinnipiac following tonight. And it turned into more of a great college conference hockey game than it was in the beginning when it was pretty sluggish. But the one point I want to make to you that we brought up in the pregame, following Game 2 against Nebraska-Omaha, Eric Hartzell. Right now, everyone on our team has the confidence that we are the best team in college hockey. Whether we are or we aren't, our confidence is there. Thoughts?
Oh, wow. If that's a quote.
As posted on our website.
Jeez.
Qbsn.
Yeah. You can check us out at theqbsn.com.
Follow us on Twitter at QBSN.
Yes. Like us on Facebook, Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Regardless, that's what you like to hear. I mean, gall darn it, this team deserves to play with a little bit of confidence. And it's nice to hear that from your senior goalie, that he's confident. I mean, why not? Why not be confident? It's better that they think that they're better than teams than for them to say, well, there's other teams that are still better than us, so we'll cross that bridge when we get there. No, play like you think that you're the best team, because right now you're the hottest team in the nation. And they continue that.
That target's already there. Say that again tonight. Because
Please.
You know what? They're going to put that on their bulletin boards. Every team will. The target's going to be there. It's whatever. That's just, you know what? It's whatever at this point.
It's nice to see a team play with a little bit of swagger. Wear that target on the back of your wear that target on you like it's a crest, like it's $1 million crest that you bought for your own shirt or something, because you should be proud that you have the target on the back because of the way that they've played so far this season.
So making note now for the remaining schedule, we're now into the second half, maybe that late season push that the Bobcats are starting towards the playoffs. They have Harvard tomorrow night, RPI and Union coming here next weekend, followed by Connecticut. Then the month of February starts with a 4-game road trip. They had a 6-game road trip earlier on this season. In my opinion, looking at this right now, because you knock on wood, you can't say when is the streak going to end. You
can't have that mentality.
You can't have that mentality. But as broadcasters, I wonder, how strongly do you view these next 3 games, knowing that in the beginning of February you go on the road for 4?
Well, every game's important.
I agree. But in terms of solidifying yourself as an at-large, I think they've solidified themselves as an at-large bid. I think that unless
you're ready to say that right now,
unless they go on a 12-game winless streak, something like that. Knock on wood. But they've played so well to date. They've knocked off 7 ranked teams now. They've been undefeated in conference play.
They lost to American International.
Yes, they lost to American International. They lost to Robert Morris, but I know we talked about this.
Yes,
Brian and I talked about this. Robert Morris has made their way up the charts. I view these next 3 games, and I say, from a broadcaster's media perspective, if they win these next 3, they are a 1 or a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament.
So that would their next 3: Harvard, RPI,
4.
Union.
Next 4.
And then
including
and then the UConn game.
The rest of their homestand up until the beginning of February.
It's a bold statement, Neil. But
it would include one more ranked team in Union. And at one point tonight, RPI was tied with BU, which would be a lot of points for RPI. But BU did beat RPI 3-2 in overtime. Regardless.
Well, here's the thing that's frustrating with me, and it's like this for almost any sport. You look at all of these games individually. Forget that Quinnipiac's on a 13-game winning streak. They updated the pairwise.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second.
Right. But forget that Quinnipiac's on a 13-game winning streak. Look at each of these games individually. Harvard, they should win. They're home. RPI, they've already beaten them. They're home. They should win. Union's a tough game, a very good goalie, but they're home. They've already beaten them on the road. They should win that game. And then you look at even the road games. Brown, struggling this year. They should win. Yale.
The Yale games are going to be toss-ups.
Those are toss-ups because of the rivalry.
It's a battle of will.
Yep. Cornell, another tough game. They beat them at home, but Cornell is one of the best goalies in the conference also. But a possible win. At Colgate, another team that's played Quinnipiac tough. So you look at that second half of the road trip in February, the middle of New York road trip to Ithaca where you play Cornell and Colgate. That's an opportunity there where this team might be looking at a place to slip up. But if you still look at all of these games individually, you see probable, not potential, probable wins.
On paper.
Exactly.
And the thing is, you want to get hot at the right time. It's a matter of, are they getting hot too soon?
Well, the thing is, Quinnipiac's, they've never gotten a first-round bye in the ECAC. That's
true.
Goal number 1. You get hot. So
right now, they're pretty. knock on wood. That's the one thing that I think we can say is pretty clear at this point, unless there's a number of ECAC teams that go on a roll, because the first 4 teams get byes.
Yes.
And they have a massive lead now on Dartmouth, who's 2. I think it's by 9 points or 10 points, something like that.
Yeah.
So, but you can keep going. Sorry.
Well, no, I'm saying goal number 1, I think coming into this season, was to get a bye in the first round. The thread on USCHO, the fan thread, go 4th and conquer. The goal is to finish 4th. They now look like they potentially have solidified themselves as a top 4 team in the conference, possibly even the nation, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So that's the first step. After that, we'll see what happens. But get into the conference tournament, wrap up that top 4 team, hopefully the number 1 seed. But then, the semifinals and the finals are played down in Atlantic City anyway, so that seed doesn't really matter too much.
It's just, you know what, I tweeted from Qbsn right before overtime started, extra time, extra fun. It's been a lot of fun this year following this team. And for Bobcats fans who are looking at a matchup to watch in order for the Bobcats to practically move up, you could say, Tuesday, January 8th, Notre Dame at Minnesota. 2 teams that are ahead of them. At this point, though, there's only so many teams ahead of them, and the teams that are ahead of them are so good.
Yep.
You look at number 1 at the top, Minnesota. Don Lucia's won 600 hockey games there at Minnesota. Pretty good. Number 2.
Just slaughtered the former number 1 team, BC.
8-1.
Slaughtered.
Number 2, Boston College. Even though they get slaughtered, it's without their star player, Johnny Gaudreau, who we mentioned before, is playing in the World Juniors right now. 2 goals last game, hat-trick in the game before that for USA.
He's a pretty good player.
Pretty good. Well, he looks like a baby face, but you know what? He's phenomenal talent. They're defending national champions. They've won 5. Jerry York to set the record for most wins in college hockey.
So they're a decent team.
So there's 1 and 2. Number 3 is
Notre Dame,
who their head coach, last name Blanchard, is in his 25th season, I believe.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head. I can look it up later on. 25th season. They have a phenomenal talent there. My original team to watch in the Hockey Night in Hamden, way back day 1, I said, watch out for Notre Dame. Look at this right here. 4th team, University of New Hampshire. As painful as it is for me to say as a Maine person, Coach Don Dick Umili there has won his 500th game this year. So, 500th. Sorry. So, I mean, like, they've gotten to this point now where they're in this class of teams that are just like,
Yep.
The cream of the crop, the top of college hockey.
Look at the teams that are even underneath them.
They're ahead of programs like Miami.
Yep.
Denver's been in national titles. BU. Don't even get me started with BU. You know how good BC is because of BU.
Yep.
And it's just like, at this point, going to Quinnipiac, people see your name. People go, wow, your hockey team's having a year. I went up to Northeastern, as I mentioned before in the broadcast. I went up to Northeastern on Thursday to record a feature for my internship. And the first thing the SID at Northeastern says to me, he goes, that's some team you got down there. And I'm like, if you want to listen to the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network, we broadcast basically every game. So it's just like...
It happened to me today also. I was working. I was fortunate enough to do play-by-play for the women's ice hockey exhibition game for Yale against McGill. I walk in. A couple of the guys that I'm working with know that I'm a Quinnipiac guy. And first thing they say, Happy New Year. Boy, your men's ice hockey team's doing something this year.
Yeah, and it's just like, we come to games. This is
yes, we do.
This is if you're listening at home, as soon as you get back to school, get out and watch this team. 17 different players have scored a goal this year. It's pretty impressive. They've had
ho-hum.
They've had 6 defensemen who have played pretty darn solidly all year long, led by Captain Zach Curry, who right now isn't even 100% healthy. He got knocked out of a game last week, didn't even play in the second game of the series. And Farrell said it. Hartzell is a Hobie Baker candidate. Sounds crazy. Hobie Baker, for those at home, is the...
it's like the Heisman for college hockey.
Yeah, exactly. Best college hockey player. I have a few things to look at before tomorrow's broadcast. I can't remember the last goaltender to win the Hobie Baker, but right now, I mean, with that guy in net, the backbone of your team, it's just been... We're at a loss for words, almost.
It's interesting because here at Quinnipiac, we're not used to the success that this team is giving us. And when we've had this kind of success, they've immediately fallen flat on their face and taken it away from us. So it's an interesting situation that all these Bobcat fans and Bobcat media members are facing right now, and the team as a whole. It's like it's been an awesome ride to this point, but everyone's still asking the question, when is it going to end? It doesn't necessarily have to, but Bobcat fans are used to the glory days ending at some point. And when it will end, if it does, hopefully it doesn't, it'll just be a very interesting and fun ride from this point on for the rest of the season.
That is definitely for sure. And I feel like a great way to end, possibly the longest postgame I've ever done.
We're working at like 25 minutes now.
Yeah, this reminds me of WQAQ rants that we go on.
Yeah.
Because this is just fun to talk about.
This is why it's great that we do what we do, because it's not work to us. It's fun. And that's the way it's supposed to be.
As the voice of Quinnipiac men's ice hockey said, Bill Schweitzer, I had a class with him this year. He said, people always ask me if I enjoy my job, if there are any days when I don't like my job of doing sports broadcasting. And he talks about this with us because we want to go into this field. How can you not have fun doing what you're doing when you're going to a hockey game every day, working and covering it and calling the game, calling an exciting 3-2 overtime victory?
It's impossible not to have fun.
Can't beat it. And to end the broadcast on this note, the last goaltender to win the Hobie Baker, currently a top NHL goalie. Got any guesses?
Currently an NHL goalie. Give me the team. I'm not a big hockey guy. You know this.
Michigan State played for Team USA.
How recently?
Last Olympics.
Ryan Miller?
Bang. Kind of gave it away too much, but you know what?
Come on, that's still pretty good for me.
Oh, it definitely is good.
Props.
It definitely is good. But to think that the last goalie to win the Hobie Baker was Ryan Miller, who started in goal for the United States Olympic hockey team. If Eric Hartzell does that, are we watching the future Olympic hockey goalie? I don't even want to get into that.
Stop.
I don't want to get into that.
We'll stop this broadcast because you're getting a little too excited. But remember, everyone listening to this broadcast right now, if you want to hear Neil get more excited, he'll be right back on the call tomorrow.
With Pete Rossi.
With Pete Rossi for the men's ice hockey game. Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network actually is a full slate tomorrow.
It's a little college hockey tomorrow as Harvard comes to town.
A little college. Maybe John Butchergrass was listening to the broadcast tonight.
I mean, I did quote him at one point, so...
But Neil will be on the call tomorrow along with Pete Rossi, and that will certainly be an interesting game. But tonight, the Quinnipiac Bobcats take this one from the Dartmouth Big Green. Your final score, Quinnipiac takes it 3-2. I'd like to thank everybody involved in the broadcast. First to the athletic director here at Quinnipiac University, Mr. Jack McDonald. Also to the entire sports information department helping making this broadcast possible for us. And for the play-by-play guy, Brian Farrell, and the color analyst today, Neil Ravin. I'm Mark Schwartz, signing off from Hamden.
The preceding broadcast was a presentation of Quinnipiac University and the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network, your flagship home for Quinnipiac athletics. For all broadcasts and online content, visit theqbsn.com.